your goodness, have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Item 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I want to welcome you to this afternoon sitting. As we approach the close of the calendar year, and as we prepare to go for Christmas recess, I want to request committees to ensure that you finish all the work before you, so that we go for recess when you have nothing pending. So committee chairs, ensure that everything is processed and presented to the House. As you are aware, in January 2024, we'll be handling the budget framework paper. Hence, we need to offset the pending business. We need all the business offset as we go into the budget framework paper. Honorable members, I want to draw to your attention to the Code of Conduct on Members of Parliament as detailed in Appendix F of the Rules of Procedure. It has come to our notice that some members continue to breach the provision of the Code of Conduct. Amongst is engaging in financial decisions that embed objectivity in the discharge of their duty. I was actually surprised when some MD called me and said, there is a member of parliament who has come, that you've sent him for something for you. And I want to encourage members, I want to encourage the public that we put a suggestion box in the clerk's office, that floor. Let's have all those messages put in that suggestion box. We must protect the integrity of this institution. And I've always told you, we should leave this institution better than the way we got it. When you hear people saying Parliament is corrupt, cooperatives, the mind of cooperatives was not 11th Parliament. It was 9th and 10th Parliament. For you, you're killing people. They ate the mind of cooperatives. Now they start saying 11th Parliament. For us, let's protect this institution. Let's get out of that. Sometime, when you conduct yourself in a polite way, people think you're just, but I want us to stand firm and ensure we do what is right for the institution and leave the rest to God. Let's do what we have been sent to do, and we'll be able to handle this institution. And as leaders, we ought to conduct ourselves in a manner that aids unity and cohesion. We've had scenarios in this house where we get a lot of hot debates. For me, I have told you several times, however hot a debate is, it will only bother me when I reach that door. It stops there. I get out of there, I live another life. You did not start this country, and you will not be the one to end. But let's work for our people without putting in personal feelings, emotions. Let's have intellectual debate. I wish you a nice deliberation. Yes, Foreign Affairs. On the communication. Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for your communication. And I want to communicate, actually to respond to one issue about the issue of unity and cohesion. Honorable Speaker and members, you are aware that each year we celebrate World Fisheries Day, which is supposed to take place every 21st of November. And this year, the venue that was chosen by the Minister of Agriculture was Bulisa District. And the letter to that effect was written on the 25th of September to the CAO confirming that date. But later that date was changed to 6th of December, which is tomorrow. Madam Speaker, on the 6th of December, which is tomorrow, this Parliament has not been able to receive any statement from the executive of this effort. And two, the district of Bulisa, which is a host district, has not been able to get any funding or any response coming from the center, actually showing that this day is supposed to take place tomorrow. And yet, communication are going on to the accounting officers from other districts, inviting them to come and celebrate this day and to support the event. I want to know from you, Honorable Speaker, where is the unity and cohesion in celebrating these international days or World Trade Days? Thank you.
Thank you, Government. Maybe before Government comes in, somebody will ask what kind of code of conduct are we talking about? One, engaging in financial decisions that embed the objectivity in discharge of their duties, or sometimes conducting themselves in a manner that erodes public trust and confidence in the institution of legislature. Those are the code of conducts that I want you to know. Yes, Government?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for the concern about the Fisheries Day. I'm going to consult Ministry of Agriculture, and we shall give a brief to the member to know exactly what is going on about that day.
But, Government, the function is tomorrow. When have we ever received a report after the function? I mean, we need a statement. Function is tomorrow.
Right, Honorable, I was saying that I'm going to consult. So I'm going to consult during the course of the sitting.
There's a procedural matter. Procedure from...
Madam Speaker, I want the Prime Minister to be confident of herself. She is the Prime Minister here. The issue is there is a statement required. Let her direct the Minister of Fisheries to bring a statement and we put another paper with your discretion, Madam Speaker.
No, we'll amend the other paper.
Yes,
please get a statement, and you need to fund the district.
And if she doesn't have one, Madam Speaker, I can help them.
Yes, Eddie?
Right, Honourable Speaker. You have alluded to the fact that the institution of Parliament must be protected. And it is through the conduct of members that we are respected and what we put out. Honourable members, we did pass the Homosexual Act, and the Anti-Homosexual Act was passed by this House. And it was brought in good faith by the opposition. But I have been looking at the international press when we are being bashed that we could have been bought. Yet what we exercised was in accordance with the Constitution. The sovereignty of the people of the Constitution is done through the elected members of Parliament. That is Article 1. And we did it under Article 79. So, Right Honourable Speaker and members, we have what we call foreign policy. When any member of Parliament or a Ugandan has travelled, he must look at the national interest. And what the national interest has been, as provided for in the chapter, in part 28 and in the Article 8 of the Constitution. Wouldn't it be proper that foreign policy is adhered to, so that when you are a member of Parliament, when you are a Ugandan and you have travelled, you work in accordance with the Constitution on the national policy or national position? Because in this case, the national position is in accordance with the act that was passed by this Parliament. So when someone goes out and is the president of a party, and he thinks that even his own party did not do good in accordance with what he wants, how do we protect our colleagues in the House who brought it and they were exercising the powers in accordance with the law? That one is a very bad practice. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, on the same? Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for referring us to Appendix F, the Code of Conduct. This House is only protected by us, how we conduct ourselves. And I want to join my brother from Kisoro, Honorable Kwizera, to share the pain. And we need guidance on how we shall conduct ourselves. If this House takes a decision on any matter, and then a political leader of any color or right says that particular group of people were either compromised, it leaves us, even after this Parliament, Right Honorable Speaker, you can be the Chief Justice, you can be anything, Lop here can be a UN director, you can get into international organization. Right Honorable, are you presiding over a house which is being compromised? Are you presiding over a house where, when laws are passed, they have partisan faces? The anti-homosexuality bill, which became law, was actually brought by Honorable Asman. Did the NRM MPs commit a suicide and a mistake to support that bipartisan law? Should we be castigated? Should we be traded off the integrity of this country because somebody wanted to access the visa? Right Honorable Speaker, is that fair for political leaders from Uganda to speak recklessly, carelessly about the image of this Parliament? Can it make us proud to be members of Parliament where we are compromised? I sympathize with those who call themselves on the other side. This is very painful. I feel like I'm crying.
Honorable members, I want you to be on record that the bill was brought by an opposition member, and he's even a president of a political party, that is JEMA. And it was also seconded by opposition. And then the whole House supported for the good of this country, in the name of protecting the family. That was supported. The aspect of having cheap politics and trading the decision of a country, which is a national position, cannot be accepted by this country. And I am not going to ask, first of all, the members of opposition that I have, led by Honorable Mpuga, were not compromised by anybody. And they don't work for President Museveni. They are opposition members, and you cannot go there and claim that these members are working for President Museveni. They acted on their own way for the good of the people of Uganda, not for smaller envelopes. The only person that we know did not support, we know. But the rest of the people, that is Honorable Fox. The rest we know supported this bill, and opposition is not compromised. If he's compromised, that is his business. Our members have integrity to protect. And I'm not going to ask Honorable Loeb to make a statement on that, because he's not a party to it. Yes?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, over the weekend, we watched with horror on our television sets as once again China is coping with a new viral infection which is now affecting children. And I think they have gone back to masks again. And this is where we are trying to find out from the Minister of Health whether we are actually prepared on this matter.
Is it on communication?
No, it's a bit of an important matter.
How is it related to what I talked about?
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, Solomon. Gemma, you want to talk about homosexuality?
Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, I want to remind ourselves the day we passed the Anti-Homosexuality Act.
I thought we had made a ruling on that. Commissioner, we have made a ruling on that. That's a very small thing. We can't discuss what somebody was discussing in the corridors of London because somebody wants to get handouts. Yes?
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, Gemma?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise on a matter of national importance regarding the impending sale of Muslim properties, including the National Mosque at Gaddafi.
So you've gone to national importance?
Yes, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay.
Yes, I was very clear it's a matter of national importance, Right Honourable
Okay.
Speaker, with your indulgence. Right Honourable Speaker, as we are all aware, there is an impending sale of Muslim properties, including Gaddafi National Mosque. This matter, Right Honourable Speaker, has political and security ramifications.
Isn't that matter in court?
Right Honourable Speaker, it is in court. And I'm not discussing the court aspect because I am seized with knowledge on sub judice. I am trying to ask
Can
Right
I
Honourable
hear
Speaker.
from my former lecturer?
May I land, Right Honourable Speaker? You allow me to land. Maybe you.
He will help you to learn.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I believe this matter is really sub judice, and it can only be brought in your office for consideration because it may invoke even partisan and sentimental issues in the House, which cannot be really discussed and resolved here. We all are at pains for what is happening, but I think the proper fora to discuss this matter is not, or forum is not this House at this stage.
Daddy, can I hear from you?
Well, it presents tremendous difficulty on my part, but I can say, Right Honourable Speaker, one, the rules require that only you have the power to decide whether a matter is sub judice or not. Number two, you can only make that decision after hearing the contents of what the member is presenting.
I suspected you to say that. Yes, Honorable Asuman, you had asked me for permission to bring the two parties to my office. I'm still waiting for the two parties so that we have a discussion and we see how we can learn on this matter. Okay.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank you and to thank my brother, the Honourable Segona, for putting proper context.
Also thank Yusuf.
No, I respectfully disagree with the opinion of my teacher, Yusuf Nsibambi. Actually, the opinion of my teacher is not what the rules state. It is the position of Segona that captures the rules. So I respectfully disagree with him. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to find out from government whether this is a matter they have interested themselves into, whether it is a matter that concerns them, that a national treasure, Right Honourable Speaker, Gaddafi National Mosque is not only the headquarters of Muslims in this country, it is also one of the biggest mosques. It's also a tourist site. Those of you who have been there, on a daily basis, people are coming from across the world to visit that treasure. In light of what is happening, I want to find out whether this is a matter that government has taken interest into and the possible political, spiritual, and security ramifications that may arise out of a sale of Muslim property.
Government.
Right Honourable Speaker, this is a matter which concerns all of us, and in particular government. I'm saying that because right now, Ministry of Gender is looking for some 2 billion to renovate that mosque. But I want to say, like the land Honorable Nsibambi said, that this is a matter in court, there is no way we can start discussing it here, but we are aware and it concerns us.
There is a procedure matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my simple guidance from you is that, yes, the honourable member has brought a matter that really needs this House to be understood or discussed. But then now that he has brought it, isn't it prudent that we give government time to bring a proper statement, to give us facts of both sides before we even open the matter for discussion?
Honourable members, I am happy that Honourable Osman has made us to understand, to know, not actually understand, to know what is happening with the Muslim property, and the issue is also before court, and then government is also now aware. So we'll wait to hear from the court and from government. But if there is a way we can handle it without really going to its conclusive position in court, then we should. Government really take an interest in it. Yeah, take an interest in that. Next item.
Item 3, bills first reading. The Sugar Amendment Bill.
Yes, procedure.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
But you members, when business is flowing, we have very important things coming up. You start procedure, order, information.
Business is flowing, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity.
Ebwalu. Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, I am wearing this orange scarf. As you are aware, we are within the 16 days of activism, and specifically
trying to see how to end violence against women. Right Honorable Speaker, last week the Minister presented a statement on the floor of this House. And yesterday, as the Uganda Women's Parliamentary Association and the National Association of Women Organizations of Uganda and Oxfam, we held a meeting in the conference hall. And in that meeting, we had girls brought from Karamoja. I'm raising this, Right Honorable Speaker, because one testimony from a 12-year-old girl was that there were 300 girls in school, and most of them escaped because their parents wanted to marry them off at an early age.
What procedure matter is that?
The procedure issue that I'm raising, Right Honorable Speaker, is that you suspended debate on the Minister's statement and did indicate that we shall be able to debate that statement. And Right Honorable Speaker, I'm wondering, this is the procedure issue that I'm raising. When would it not be procedure right for you to inform us of the date when we shall be able to discuss this statement from the Minister? Because the issue of shelters is an important aspect.
Honorable Member, I don't work like a robot. That it will be on Monday and that is that, period. No. We'll look at what is on the order paper and then we assess whether, because the date ends on 10th, we shall discuss it. And the violence against women is also on the men. Next item.
Item 3, Bills first reading, the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023.
Honorable members, Government seeks to amend the Sugar Act 2020 to establish Uganda Sugar Industry Stakeholders Council. However, I also note that 4 years after the enactment of the Sugar Act, the Sugar Board, which was a creature of Section 13 of the Act, has never been established. However, the matter will be interrogated in the committee. So we'll allow the Minister to bring the bill for the first reading, and then the rest will be interrogated in the committee. Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023 be read the first time. And attached is a certificate of financial implications.
Honorable members, pursuant to Rule 1291 of the Rules of Procedure, the bill stands referred to the Committee of Trade, Tourism, Trade and Industry, and the 45 days provided in the Rule 1292 applies. Thank you.
Item 4, response by the Leader of the Opposition to the ministerial statement on alleged enforced disappearances of persons.
Honorable members, you remember that the Leader of Opposition brought a report to this House, laid on the table, and government was given 30 days. Government came back with a report. And when government came with a report, opposition deemed it fit to come with a rejoinder on what government presented, and now we are getting a rejoinder on what government presented. There is nothing new that is coming. It is basically a rejoinder on what was presented and what they feel was not correct or whichever. Then, and we must finish this item today. We must finish. It is uploaded. Check in your eye.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. And I'll join you in the argument that this matter should have ended in earnest should have ended yesterday. In fact, if the Minister of Internal Affairs tells me that the missing 18 are in the parliamentary compound, I will seize ground and go and meet them, and we end it there and then.
Unfortunately, our parliamentary compound is not a detention center, so ours is for parking our cars.
Definitely, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm alive to that. But as a matter of surrender, if he did so, I would go and embrace them and seize this ground. I thank you for the patience and everyone enjoying in this, Right Honourable Speaker. I understand the fact that the House is stressed over this matter, but even the nation is even more stressed, Right Honourable Speaker. The very reason this House of Parliament should find every reason to end this matter in a manner that the public does expect us to end it, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, before I delve into my response to the Minister's statement, I wish to state and remind ourselves of the role and duty of the legislature in situations like these. Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament, through its legislative mandate, molds the legal framework and shields the rights of every citizen, ensuring that the most vulnerable among us are protected and nurtured. Parliament, as the embodiment of the collective will of the people, brings human rights to reality. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we must make it clear to everyone that our walkout and break from plenary activities was triggered by the continued indolence of government to address the most pressing and transgressing issues that affect our people and undermine their worth and dignity. That is something we couldn't withstand in an environment where our people's concerns are not prioritized. We demand answers, accountability, action taken, and redress for the violations, Right Honourable Speaker. The government should take full responsibility for its citizens as espoused in the international and national legal frameworks to which we subscribe, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, like the previous statements on the issue, the government has again taken a defensive approach to matters in which it is supposed to take a lead role in investigating and finding redress to the public outcry. It is not right and proper, Right Honourable Speaker, for the government to merely dismiss issues summarily without giving due regard to the overwhelming evidence presented at various fora. Besides the condescending style and language used in the Minister's speech, Right Honourable Speaker, we have found his statement to be extremely disparaging, detached, and frosty to the victims and their respective families. It should stand rejected in its inadequate stance, Right Honourable Speaker. With a view to keeping our focus on the substantive issues, I will not respond to the assertions that are apparently intended to divert us, Right Honourable Speaker. On another day, we shall indulge in the figures and rankings of our country on an international scale in as far as human rights are concerned. That's not for today. As for now, let us first discuss the issues of disappearances and arbitrary killings in which the government is not only implicated, but has also failed to conduct and present to the public comprehensive findings. I hope in that regard, the Minister will be proud that the 18 missing persons are isolated incidents, not warranting state intervention. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I'm sure most of us were here at the return of multi-party politics in Uganda. I can certainly state that it was never the decision of the ruling government to reverse the movement system. It was a decision of the people, and this did not come on a silver platter. Most of us are not strangers to these processes. I know for a fact, like most of us do, that this has never dawned on the ruling party that other political parties and actors deserve space or even a right to advance their ideas and philosophies. Right Honourable Speaker, back to the human rights concerns we raised vis-à-vis the minister's statement. I must state at the earliest that no response was made to the issues we raised. The minister's statement was purely a political narrative, instead of giving the country a detailed and specific account of missing persons and remedy to their families. I would particularize the issues, Right Honourable Speaker, with their attendant titles. 1. Failure to conduct investigations. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, throughout the web of denials in the minister's response, the most evident and striking attribute painted thereon is that no investigations were conducted at all. We are saddened by government's inaction in the face of these gross violations. Yet time is fast running. The victims continue reeling and harrowing in pain, despair, agony, and anguish. Clearly, if we continue with this lethargic approach, we will not get any answer from this numb and unresponsive government. Not only Speaker, I will demonstrate subsequently
Order for what? Pardon?
Right,
Yeah.
Right Honourable Speaker, in your communication you actually made it clear about the conduct of members. It's the right honourable colleague, the leader of opposition, right to call that the government is actually numb and unresponsive. I don't think we are numb, and yet is responding. And yet the government actually presented a statement, and you are responding to the same statement that the government actually placed on the House. How is that being numb? We are not numb. The statement was given by the minister, which you are responding to. So is the leader of opposition in order to call this government numb and unresponsive? Thank you.
Honorable members, I wonder why you're raising your voices. We've agreed, let's use parliamentary language, and my brother Mpoga, by the way, is one of the most disciplined persons, and I know you will use parliamentary language. Please use the parliamentary language for us to achieve what we want, but as far as I know, this team is not numb.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Use another word, not numb.
Right Honourable Speaker, I do concede to the fact that English is a second language to all of us, but I'm not numb to the feelings of members when I use a word not they are accustomed to. The other meaning.
Honourable Mpoga.
The other meaning of.
Honourable Mpoga. Honourable Mpoga, in the interest of peace, I know you're a peace-loving person. Get that word. It costs you nothing. It costs you nothing. These are your colleagues, your best friends. And I don't want you people to pretend like you're not friends. These are your best friends.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to assure the Honourable Member that the word numb is not insulting.
Please, I'm not telling you to defend.
It is descriptive of situations. And I want to invite members to be calm about, and they'll be free to respond to my statements, because...
Honourable Mpoga, Matthias, you're addressing one of your best friends. You're addressing one of your in-law or Muhozi, and you're telling your in-law you're numb.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I will recollect the phrase and paragraph where I used the word and try to hazard an alternative. Clearly, right, Honorable Speaker, if we continue with this lethargic approach, we will not get an answer from this government that is insensitive and unresponsive to the needs of the people. Under the law, right, Honorable Speaker, states not only have...
There's a procedural matter.
Madam Speaker, with due respect to the law, and history says, Madam Speaker, need protection from the Member of Parliament from Nansana.
It's okay. You did not carry that seat from Nansana.
Madam Speaker, history of this country, in all leaders of opposition, have ranked Honorable Puga Mathias as the best law so far Parliament of Uganda has ever had since independence. Madam Speaker, basing on that, I don't know whether we are proceeding well by Honorable Puga placing English words in jargon to disorganize us by not using the English language but the English, so that he calls the government a failure of the day. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether we are proceeding well.
Honorable Macho, I am aware that you've not worked with any leader of opposition during independence and whichever. I know you've only worked with the two leaders of opposition, 2 or 3. So, anyway, Mathias addressed the House and addressed it with dignity, with the parliamentary language, and with respect for your colleagues, and respect for everybody.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to assure the House of my utmost considered respect, and I should not in any way and any terms be deemed to be disrespectful of colleagues. Right, Honorable Speaker, I desire that that assurance rests with everybody's spirit. Right, Honorable Speaker, under the law, states not only have to refrain from intentional and unlawful deprivation of life, but must also take appropriate steps to safeguard the lives of those within their jurisdiction. In respect of the right to life, Uganda as a party is duty-bound to respect and ensure protection of individual rights. It is imperative, right, Honorable Speaker, to note that it is an obligation of states to establish effective facilities and procedures to investigate killings and cases of missing or disappeared persons in circumstances that may involve violation of the right to life. Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm going to lay a series of attachments after my presentation, and one of them is a reference to Article 2 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, to which Uganda is a party and therefore bound. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the responsibility of the state to proceed with an effective investigation is engaged, even when there is no evidence that agents of the state have been implicated in the killing or disappearance, and even if members of the victim's family or others have not lodged a formal complaint about the killing with the authorities. This is a duty. This duty is more stringent when the disappeared person was thus held in state custody. In such circumstances, it is incumbent upon the state to provide a plausible explanation as to the detainee's fate, as well as to ensure that some form of independent monitoring was undertaken. During the time we have been away, Right Honorable Speaker, from plenary, we have managed to reach out to families of the missing persons, Their revelations are quite touching and detail very well the state offices that they have approached and how they reacted to their approach. Dr. Honorable Speaker, I'm going to lay video evidence of this for your consideration, and it will harm House property should there be need to make a reference. I'm going to lay them. In light, I will highlight some of...
You lay the video evidence after I've looked at it personally as the presiding officer.
Much obliged,
in
Right
my
Honourable
office.
Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker.
Then you will bring it.
That's why I've not made a prayer to play it.
Okay.
But I'll make it available as House property.
Okay.
For your consideration. I will highlight some of the cases that clearly indicate glaring contradictions in the statement presented by the Minister vis-à-vis statements obtained from the police, witnesses, and other state departments. I'll make a few highlights, not the entire 18. Let me sample for the House to make a judgment. Case 1 is that of Damulira John. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Minister has presented a report indicating that Damulira John is not among the people in government custody. Contrary to what the Minister stated in his report, Damulira's disappearance was reported to police and an SD reference was obtained to that effect. I have indicated this, Right Honourable Speaker. Contrary to what the Minister stated, Damulira's data is well captured with the NIRA and that number. He had a national ID and voter location slip. Right Honourable Speaker, we should also note that at this stage, that the case of Damulira John, just like many other cases of enforced disappearances, was reported to police, and the police was on record admitting his arrest and detention. On 22nd November 2020, Mr. Patrick Onyango, the spokesperson of Kampala Metropolitan Police, confirmed Mr. Damulira's arrest and several others on allegations of participating in protests around the Kampala metropolitan area, but denied torturing the suspects. And I quote him, "It is true, Damulira John is one of the people we arrested, but I cannot tell you where he and others are detained now. We did not torture any person. And as an institution, torture is prohibited as a form of interrogation." The Daily Monitor of 22nd November quote Mr. Onyango, confirming detaining Mr. Damulira John. Right Honourable Speaker, Damulira John's matter has been investigated by the Uganda Human Rights Commission, the Central Regional Office, and in a letter referenced, quoted, and dated 9th December 2020, addressed to the CMI, indicated that the Commission carried out investigation at Central Police Station in Kampala, and it was established that the victim, Damulira John, is being detained at CMI Kampala. Right Honourable Speaker, that's correspondence between the Human Rights Commission and the Uganda Police. Right Honourable Speaker, for your information and the information of members, the relatives of Damulira John on 11th January 2021 reported this matter to State House as well, when in turn forwarded the same to the Uganda Human Rights Commission for further management. I have attached correspondence between the police and the Uganda Human Rights Commission on the arrest of Damulira. Right Honourable Speaker, invariably, this is a matter in dispute, and we have situated Damulira at CMI. Right Honourable Speaker, John Bosco Kibalama. The Minister denies knowledge of the holding point of John Bosco Kibalama, which contravenes what the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Nabanja, asserted during the press interview in the corridors of Parliament. She had this to say, "But we are fortunate that Kibalama was traced. He was arrested, and recently in October, in a place called Kakiri. And he is one of those that killed, is claimed to have killed the police officers in Chiboga, Wakiso, and other places." Right Honourable Speaker, a missing person case for Kibalama was reported at Nakanyonyi Police Station under that reference. a day after his abduction on June 3rd, 2019, discrediting the minister's narrative that the family did not contact police for any remedy. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Deputy Attorney General, the Honourable Jackson Kafuzi, featured on NBS TV talk show The Frontline, and they tried to spin the Prime Minister and Honourable Nabanja's narrative by insinuating that the Chibalama she referred to is the founding member of NURP party, who is Moses Ngongo Chibalama. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, when the Honourable Kafuz was challenged by the show host, who replayed the Honourable Nabanja's bite, he rephrased this statement and said, she misspoke. I don't know what that means. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, these ping-pong games by government officials should concern every right-thinking person. The attempt at this spin clearly shows how sections of the ruling party hold Ugandans in contempt and will not stop at anything to show disdain for them. The Prime Minister is on record of Parliament over her total knowledge as to the arrest and whereabouts of Chibalama, and we took her for her statement on record. Right Honourable Speaker, Mr. Chibalama was fully situated. Top government officials are aware of his whereabouts and how they handled his arrest. Right Honourable Speaker, the case of Mr. Wangolo Dennis, I am sampling a few for the attention of the House. Mr. Wangolo was picked from his workplace at Chebando tax stage and bundled into a drone alongside 5 others, namely Nwagaba, Katende Bernard, Samba Silas, Kasato, and Zimla Dennis. The abductees were taken to Kakiri Army Barracks, where they were tortured, and they fully released save for Zimla and Wangolo. This abduction was witnessed.
Excuse me, young, please first come back, huh? Come back. Sorry. I didn't want these leaders of Uganda to leave without being recognized. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have pupils and teachers of Albert Cook Memorial School from Kasanda district, represented by Honorable Patrick Samba Oshabe. Please stand up. Your member of parliament, where is the Honorable Oshabe? And is your member of parliament is around, is just very busy. He's always very busy, but he's a good member. And represented by Nabagabe Kalule Flavia. Thank you so much for coming, and come again. Join me in welcoming them. Okay.
Right Honourable Speaker, allow me to correct the record here in the names I read out. The names were Nwagaba.
Honorable, sorry for the interruption. I know these children are going very far. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have teachers and pupils of Aiden Nursery and Primary School from Nachifuma County, Mukono. They are represented by Honorable Simbwa. Where is Honorable Simbwa? And Honorable Anifa Nabukera. Honorable Nabukera, you're welcome. And thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Come again. And you have very good members.
Right Honourable Speaker, as praying to correct the record, I have put on the Hansard that the names were Nwagaba, Katende Bernard, Sambwa Silas Kasato, and Zimla Dennis. Sambwa Silas Kasato is one person, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay.
The abductees were taken to Kakiri Army Barracks, where they were tortured, and the 4 released safe for Zimala and Wangolo. This abduction was witnessed by the area residents and an authoritative source, the Elson chairperson, Mr. Mwanje Richard. Honorable Speaker, NIRA records have proved the existence of Mr. Wangolo, contrary to the minister's claim that he is fictitious, that he has never existed. Last Honorable Speaker, Mr. Semuddu Michael Jackson. The kidnap case of Mr. Semuddu was reported by his relative, Mr. Kafelu Michael, at Old Kampala Police Station under that reference on 26th of November 2020. His credentials at NIRA show that he was registered under that number. Right Honourable Speaker, I sampled this to tell you, to settle the matter that the victims of disappearance were fictitious, and the prayer you shall make to this house subsequently will be to eventually have occasion to situate and locate the others and confirm their existence, including the video clips I'll submit for the attention of the House. Right Honourable Speaker, excuse me. Officials of government claiming responsibility for missing persons. Right Honourable Speaker, I also bring to your attention and that of the House that some government leaders, including cabinet ministers, such as the Honourable Judith Nabakoba, are on record claiming responsibility for some of the missing persons. During a church service at St. Andrew's Cathedral, Namukozi in Mityana, in the presence of the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Honourable Nabakoba said she was aware of some opposition supporters who were abducted during elections. And when the families of these people approached her at her home in Kalangalo, she was able to secure their freedom, the freedom of the victims from Kireka SIU. She comes as a very useful witness in establishing the security layers involved in committing these heinous crimes, Right Honourable Speaker. And I will submit her video and voice record on that matter, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, in Nansana, one Yusuf Mugaga, an NRM leader, is implicated by the community in several abduction cases. He offered to secure the release of Mustafa Luemba's freedom in exchange for a fee from his relatives. He went on to produce Luemba's national ID to demonstrate that he knew where he was being held. Mr. Yusuf Mugaga has accomplices at room 18 at CPS Kampala building, where they coordinated the ransom and abduction conspiracies. The other officials implicated in the conspiracies are Champs Sub-County Giso, Mr. Swipe, Mr. Kafuma Twaha, chairperson of Kabembe, the former minister Ronald Chibule, and the former RDC Freddie Bamwine, among others. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the House should use this information to interrogate the activities of these individuals and come to a conclusion as to their role, whether they are being helpful or conspirators, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, on claims that security forces use reasonable force during operations, on countless occasions, security forces have been captured on camera, torturing and beating up subdued non-combatants. On November 6, 2022, heavily armed security operatives cruising a numberless Toyota Hiace minivan famously known as a drone sealed off Gladiator Paradise in Masanaf, Lubaga Division, where they indiscriminately beat up revelers who were watching a Premier League football match. In the scuffle, Kavuma Jamshid, a member of the security detail, of the opposition NUP party president was subdued, handcuffed, and shot as he inquired about the basis of his arrest. I refer the House to the BBC documentary entitled Drones, the Vans That Take People Away, dated 13th February 2023. I have attached that record, Honourable Speaker. On November 18th, 2021, Honourable Speaker, Sheikh Chilevu, a Muslim cleric, was subdued as recounted by his wives, Amina Nabada and Sophia Nakachwa, handcuffed and shot dead. In sight of his children, despite peacefully submitting to the arresting officers to take him for prosecution. I refer the House to the URN report titled Family Disputes Police Narrative on Killed Sheikh Chilevu. Right, Honourable Speaker, the evidence of his killing was all over the place and the circumstances. On May 8th, 2023, Hamed Muyodi, an NUP supporter, was shot in the thigh inside a Toyota Hiace minivan that contained JAT officers who had come to arrest him for unsubstantiated allegations. The security officer who shot Muyodi was neither charged nor court-martialed as demanded by the law. But the Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson, Luke Owesegire, described the tragedy as an accident. Right, Honourable Speaker, we're waiting for a report of the occurrence of that accident inside the van. Right, Honourable Speaker, not forgetting the March 2019 extrajudicial murder of Ronald Sebulime, who was handcuffed and shot while in the custody of police in a police patrol, alongside several security-inspired terror against members of the Fourth Estate, the media, and the peaceful protesting media, medical interns, and doctors that have occupied a fair share of this year. The excess brutality meted out on minors found at the Kawempe residence of Sheikh Yunus Kamoga is still fresh in our minds, Honourable Speaker. Relying on some of these cited incidents, Honourable Speaker, therefore, I strongly reject the position of government that security forces use reasonable force when conducting operations. I therefore insist that our report highlighting the security excesses was factual and premised on precedents, accounts of witnesses, and other credible sources who preferred anonymity for fear of reprisal. Right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker and colleagues, on the issue of compensation talked about or mentioned in the report, it is on record that General Museveni pledged to compensate the bereaved families of some of the victims of the November 2020 riots, especially those he had categorized as non-rioters. 3 years later, nothing in that regard has been effected. He listed 3 names of the then missing 177 persons and directed his intelligence to publish the full list, a directive that has since been defied and downplayed. The report on November 2020 killings remains concealed from the public, to whom government should be accountable. Right, Honourable Speaker, I have attached the record of the 2021 18 November Human Rights Watch report entitled 1 Year Later, No Justice for Victims of Uganda's Lethal Crackdown. I've also attached a video evidence of the Commander-in-Chief directing the publication of that list, which has never appeared up to now. Right, Honourable Speaker, at the November 2022 UN Geneva Convention, the Attorney General of Uganda, the Honourable Kiwa Kiwanuka, a man I hold in very high regard, lied before the delegates that they had compensated some victims of the protests, and they went on to cite Honourable Zake Francis and exiled NUP journalist Ashraf Kasirye as beneficiaries of the compensation scheme. On the contrary, the duo have publicly denied ever getting any penny from the government as compensation for the bodily harm they suffered at the hands of security. Honourable Speaker, I want to confirm on record that I was the attorney for Kasirye, and therefore his matter has never been compensated. His matter was handled by Justice Sekana and the state has been playing games since. So it's never been conclusive, and so therefore no compensation. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, it is only through relentless efforts that some families of the deceased 15-year-old Amos Segawa have been awarded some meager compensation. Ms. Nachito, the mother, was awarded by Justice Musa Sekana 50 million shillings, which she complained to be too small for the life of her son, whose right to life was denied by the two-day November 2020 shooting spree. So I further have attacked the ruling in Ms. Janet's cause number 011122 of 2021, Hajara Nachito versus the Attorney General. It's full attached, Right Honourable Speaker. Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, the claims that government has compensated the victims of the November 2020 protests are delusional and a naked lie that even the families of the victims can attest to. Therefore, it should not be kept on the record of Parliament, Right Honourable Speaker. Those who will come after us will never understand how we had that on record. Right Honourable Speaker, detecting registration number plates of vehicles with security missions. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I find totally impractical that the government, as by its statement, expects people to take records of registration number plates in tense circumstances when masked men, gunmen in drones have their fingers read on the trigger. In July this year, security personnel of the Chief Antrim Military Intelligence traveling in a drone shot dead a 34-year-old Jacqueline Narwanga, a resident of Nakabugo village in Wakiso district. The deceased was on her way to her garden when she found herself entangled in a security operation and was killed just because she was about to witness an abduction operation. This implies that even if she had taken a record of the security vehicle, she would have been unable to she would be unable to live to tell the story as a witness. I refer the House to the July 25th, 2023 Daily Monitor report, which I have attached, entitled "Army Stray Bullets Kill Woman Going to Her Garden." Besides, security is fond of switching registration number plates upon accomplishing their missions. Right Honourable Speaker, this was evident in the tenure of Major General Muzei Sabiti as the Deputy Inspector General of Government, or Inspector General of Police, when his vehicle number plate was switched to a Toyota Hiace drone for an operation. This is the Deputy IGP switching number plates. Right Honourable Speaker. The police spokesperson Fred Enanga came out in defense of the saga and stated that it is their tendency as security to switch number plates depending on the magnitude of the operation they intend to conduct. I also reflect on the various by-elections like Omoro, Soroti, Bukedi, among others, where security forces concealed their vehicle number plates with cow dung to evade detection.
Were you in Bukedea to say that? Remove Bukedea from your list.
Right Honourable Speaker, the House receives a record for their processing, and the House will take occasion to consider what they drop and what they keep with your indulgence.
Much as I'm not supposed to defend my district, I am defending Bukedea was not involved.
Right Honourable Speaker, the House will take a record.
Yes,
and I'll make a determination.
Yes,
Right Honourable, this is a House of Record, being Parliament. I rarely interrupt very decent men like Honourable Mpuga. But listening to him and reading through, I'm wondering whether it is a rejoinder or a new statement. Because, and some of the people whom I don't want to put on record, like now, Bukedea, can he refer to which page did the minister indicate? Because rejoinder, you don't bring new things. But there are a number of new things that has been brought. Now, like on this one of cow dung when a dung is on the number plate, you may not even know whether it's a human dung or a cow dung. Going into the specific, which page?
I am Honorable Law. You're making a rejoinder on what the minister responded to. And in the report of the minister, I did not see my district. And I'm a woman member of parliament for that district. I will defend it to the latter.
Honourable Speaker.
Let's talk about abducted people, because there's nobody abducted from Bukedea.
Honourable Speaker, the beauty is that I went to the same law school we went to, and we all understand the concepts of rejoinders. He's just trying to divert me from presenting this, and I know his game. He's serious at what he's doing, but I want to assure him that I'm equally serious.
Honorable Bukedea was not included. You withdraw Bukedea.
Right, Honourable Speaker. The whole idea,
Lob,
that's why
you listen to your attorney. Bukedea was not involved. Let's not go into something.
Right, Honourable Speaker, for the sake of tranquility and peace, and to avoid interruption by OO, who is deliberate on disrupting my presentation, we shall use the other examples and drop Bukedea.
So you've withdrawn Bukedea?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, he has withdrawn Bukedea. Honorable members, let's sit, let's wait. Honorable members,
Madam Speaker, I also want to go on record. No, Madam Speaker, I also want to.
Honorable members, Honorable Gwang, first sit. Honorable Gwang, first sit. All of you sit. All of you sit. All of you. And I am reminding you this. If I see you standing more than 2 times, I'll get you out. Honorable Law, don't bring in some things that will anger some people. Let's talk about the 18 people, the shrinking in space, all those kind of things. You read your statement.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to assure the House that I'm very methodical.
And members, I will give you time to debate. I will give you members.
I want to assure the House that I'm very methodical. And if you really, if it does please you, right, Honourable Speaker, I would play video evidence of everything I'm talking about. Otherwise,
can we go to your report?
Thank you, right, Honourable Speaker. I can understand the discomfort
and I want
this rejoinder is bringing. Right, Honourable Speaker.
There's a procedural matter.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the issue, Honourable OO raised a pertinent issue on the rejoinder. Is indeed procedural right that you give your ruling on the how rejoinders are done, so that this parliament takes a precedent, even for the future, on how we can manage reports and counter reports.
Yes. Another one.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable, she has allowed me to speak. Right Honourable Speaker, we all have senior 6 or equivalent that allows us to be in this house, and therefore we understand English. Right Honourable Speaker, what we expect as a house, that the leader of opposition should respond to what the minister presented on the floor of this house. That's what a rejoinder is. Yes, All of us have been to school. All of us have been to school. And nobody should attempt to take us back to school. So could you guide, Madam Speaker, that the leader of opposition restricts himself to respond to what the Minister of Internal Affairs presented on this floor? But when you start saying the Attorney General was in Geneva and so forth, you're on a fishing expedition. So we want your guidance over that matter, because we are keenly listening and we are going to respond. And we shall respond to what he has brought, not bring new issues.
Honorable members,
new issues, yes.
Honorable members, now for you, you've just come. Your children were here looking for you. First, wait. Honorable members, the leader of opposition brought a report to this House, and government was asked to respond item by item. Now, after government responding an item by item, where they felt they were not satisfied with what government responded to, strictly on what was brought on the floor. Strictly on what was brought on the floor. A rejoinder is a response to the response that was given. So the rejoinder that you're giving is responding to what General Muhoozi gave, and strictly it should be to what General Muhoozi gave. Not bringing in the issues of Bukedeya, Kaodam. Was that?
Guidance, Madam Speaker. Guidance, Madam Speaker.
Yes, you're conflicted.
Me?
Yes, you first sit. You're making a guidance on my ruling. Okay, let me give Nwagaba to speak, not you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I thank you for your ruling. In a rejoinder like the leader of opposition is making, you are not limited to responding strictly to the response by the other party. But you can, in responding to that response, you can expound. And what the leader of opposition is doing is just expounding when he is rejoining.
Can I have Kiror? Kiror?
I want to...
Kiror?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want really... You know, when we go to law school, we should not apply the law, understanding of the law selectively. If we choose
to what benefits
you, that would be very mean of us. We have you can be senior, but you have not read the law and understood. You get it? You see? Right Honorable Speaker, I think let's apply the rejoinder in the strict sense. We have chosen to use the word rejoinder. If an application has been filed and somebody has done a reply to that application, and the court gives you the latitude to do a rejoinder, it is not to open the Pandora box. No. You rejoin to certain specific issues which have been raised in the response, which you want to clarify on. But you don't broaden it. And those are the rules.
Honorable Fox.
I thank you. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Can I have silence?
Right Honorable Speaker, matters of human rights should never divide us. We should all speak with one voice when it comes to matters of human rights. And we should be candid, we should be honest, we should be truthful. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Nwagaba was 1 year behind me at law school. I have known him for a very long time.
And the Honorable Nwagaba knows that a rejoinder is restricted to matters already canvassed. The matters must have been dealt with, and you only rejoin to matters that were raised. Right Honorable Speaker, the law.
Fox, is there a difference between a reply and a rejoinder?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker.
Because what he's talking about is a reply.
Right Honorable Speaker, you are absolutely right. And what we are dealing with this afternoon is a rejoinder. The law, whom I respect immensely, should do us a favor and restrict himself to the matters that the Minister for Internal Affairs raised. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, when you're making a reply, you often suggest and make a thorough response for one to believe whatever you're saying. You can even go beyond what was mentioned. That is a reply. But now when you look at a rejoinder, it is restrictive to what was raised, the objective of what was raised. Honorable Loeb, why don't you give your response to what was raised?
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you. Actually, I can confirm.
I can tell you to stand up.
I can confirm, Right Honourable Speaker, that many a member did not read the minister's statement. In fact, the subtitles I am offering in my rejoinder are picked from the minister's statement. I can confirm they don't read it.
You respond to the minister's statement.
And I am surprised that they are supplying a diversion to this house. Each of these subtitles is picked from the minister's statement.
You respond to the minister's statement.
Yeah, and I would like members to really pay attention. And I'm trying to look for the source of the discomfort, and I'm not getting it. Honourable Speaker.
Please go ahead and reply the minister's statement.
Honourable Speaker.
It's on page 11. You tell them the page where you are.
Trying to remind members that the subtitle I was handling is titled Detecting Registration Number Plates of Vehicles in Security Missions. Because the minister said that the public is duty bound to detect and report car number plates. And I am reporting a serious disability to the public in detecting these car number plates. Is that an import? It's not an import. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I am responding in very strict terms so that the House can understand the factors under which the minister's demands of the public are improbable and out of space. Right Honourable Speaker, the BBC documentary entitled 3 Killings in Kampala clearly showed clues on the police vehicle that was involved in the murders along Kampala Road in the Central Business District, which is dotted with cameras. If the security cared to apprehend the crew on UP 99917, it was upon them to rely on the CCTV footage to trace the movement of this particular vehicle. The police have the capacity and infrastructure to revisit the CCTV records of November 18th to 20th to detect the route of the killer patrol cited in this documentary. I am privy to the fact that, Right Honourable Speaker, the same security operatives heavily relied on these CCTV records to trace for suspected protesters, as well as crack down on NUP activists who would later on be disappeared by drones. It is therefore deliberate that security does not track its own errant personnel despite the presence of CCTV equipment to do so. The last time we checked on the killer patrol, UP 99917, was stationed at Katwe Police Station in Kampala. The Internal Affairs Minister should be able to effectively use this information. Right Honourable Speaker, alleged uncooperative attitude of relatives of the missing victims. Right Honourable Speaker, the government indicates that their recently deployed team of detectives disguised themselves as an NGO to retrieve information from the relatives of the missing persons. The minister did not satisfactorily delve into the ingredients of what their intelligence come NGO obtained from the bereaved families of the missing 18. The details of the identity of the NGO are a mystery, and so is the said report, which I would so wish to be tabled before Parliament, Right Honourable Speaker. The people have always been free to share information, their despair and the agony they are going through in search of their beloved ones, to the extent of visiting the perpetrators at CMI, international bodies like the defunct UNHRC, State House, political party offices, and UNHRC. In the course of seeking redress, Right Honourable Speaker, they have shared confidential documents and even spoke to the media. I invited the House to follow the documentary, The Missing 18, authored by my office, and I have also attached video evidence to ascertain the existence of these families and their willingness to testify to their missing loved ones. Right Honourable Speaker, prosecuting errant officers. The government has been deliberately declining to prosecute errant security officers who commit atrocities, but instead elevates them in rank. Because, Right Honourable Speaker, this response is in part to respond to the minister stating that they have been acting on their errant officers. And we are saying not at all. Instead, they have been promoting them, and by doing so, promoting impunity. For instance, former Masaka RPC Enoch Abaine, who shot and injured the journalist Arasiraf Kashidi, was transferred and promoted to the environmental police in Luzira. The same Abaine is known to be a Ritho with blood stains in his hands. During the 2017 age limit rally held in Rukongiri, Abaine allegedly shot a 19-year-old man. Instead of being interdicted and apprehended for his deeds, he was in 2018 transferred to Mackay University and promoted to Chief Security Officer. The famous 2011 walk-to-work-based tormentor, Inaitwe Gilbert, was promoted from ASP to Superintendent of Police, Right Honourable Speaker, as a highlight. Right Honourable Speaker, the command of the infamous Kasese killings, the one Peter Royal, was elevated from brigadier to general, and even sits comfortably with us in Parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, CMI Captain Iwan Bashir Mango, who in January 2022 shot and caused the leg amputation of a traffic police officer, Robert Mukebez, remains at large, and the EPDF is hesitant in prosecuting him. In fact, the defense spokesperson, Brigadier Fred Kulaiji, said they were unable to track down Captain Mango, so he remains at large. As an example, Honourable Speaker, as to how impunity is promoted, the ministers claim that the police driver of truck number UP4841, constable number 39975, Mr. Aktil Nasasira, was apprehended are baseless, as none of the relatives of Rita Nabukenya, who the minister named Nabukela, was informed as required by principles of law and natural justice. The people who witnessed the accident were not interrogated for statements. Police did not go to Malago Hospital, where the deceased's remains were conveyed. Nabukenya's death was a matter of public interest that should have attracted ample press coverage, but there is no record of the said arrest of Atikulu Nasasira. Right Honourable Speaker, that family never received information. They remain agitated that the police government neglected their plea to apprehend the killer of their daughter. Right Honourable Speaker, pre-trial detention. The norm of lengthy detention has become synonymous with the NRM government, Right Honourable Speaker, especially whenever an opposition political activist or Muslim terror suspect is arrested. We established the reason behind these prolonged detentions is to enable the torture victims to have ample time for their physical injuries to heal. We evidenced this in the case of our NUP supporter in Kasese, Samuel Masereka, and of course, exiled Ugandan novelist Kakwenza. When their wounds sustained from torture recover, they are presented in court. Though the government report attributes pre-trial detention to the limited human resource in the judiciary, it is illogical and deceitful. We have witnessed situations where high-profile cases involving ministers and government officials, they were cited in the Karamoja Unishit saga, speedily tried. Yet the same criminal justice system has many times tried the opposition activists after spending more than 48 hours in police custody and safe houses. For instance, Damshid Kavumani's colleagues, who were abducted on November 6, 2022, were lined in Mwanga 2 court a month later in December 2022, after a writ of habeas corpus was filed compelling security officers at CMI to panic and drop him at Old Kampala police station. Allegedly, Right Honourable Speaker, one Sulaiman Jakana Naduli was detained in September 2022 at Makindi military barracks for a prolonged period prior to his alignment in court in Nakaseke. The detention, according to his family members, deprived him of access to his specialized medication, which eventually caused his death. Right Honourable Speaker, our findings established that 12 of the persons who were reported missing were arrested on suspicion of having committed several offences and were either released on police bond or court bail. UHCR stated in their report, we are quoting now the UHCR report, that was equivocal in their findings. We also informed the House that the UHRC chairperson, Ms. Mariam Wangadia, is on record disclosing her fears and insecurity after asserting that her colleagues carry firearms to in-house meetings. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, how do we be convinced that an insecure chairperson is in the right state of mind to investigate other people's rights violations when her own rights are in contention? Right Honourable Speaker, on the issue of political prisoners in custody, there are dozens of political prisoners languishing in custody on charges that the state has deliberately failed to conclude due to inadequate evidence. For example, Olivia Lutaya and dozens of opposition NUP supporters are still facing off with the court-martial despite a 2021 Constitutional Court ruling that annulled such trials. On 15th December 2022, Right Honourable Speaker, court ruled that all those persons not subjected to military law and are currently being tried before any military court are ordered that their files be transferred to the civil courts under the direction of the DPP, Right Honourable Speaker. This directive has, however, been disregarded to date, with the political prisoners continuously facing an endless trial and all their bail attempt thwarted, despite presenting substantial sureties, who include blood relatives and credible leaders. We call on the Minister of Justice to explain to the country why the General Court Martial is contemptuous to the Constitutional Court ruling on trial of civilians. I refer the House to the Constitutional Court Petition number 44 of 2015, retired Captain Amos Biarugaba and others versus the Attorney General, Right Honourable Speaker. I have attached that ruling, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I bring to your attention the fact that dozens of NUP supporters who merely wore a party red beret have been subjected to a lengthy pre-trial detention at the hands of the court-martial without any incriminating evidence. But on the other hand, ADF suspects, Jamil Mukulu, alleged to have killed dozens of students at Chwamba Technical Institute in 1988, and Dawood Rashid Choto, alias Sinjovu, alleged to have killed tourists at Queen of the National Park, are facing a trial in civilian courts, Right Honourable Speaker. Is this duplicity? If not miscarriage of justice, Right Honourable Speaker, what should we describe this to be? For a criminal justice system to subject NUP supporters exercising their political right to a court-martial on one hand, and try ADF terror suspects in a civilian court on the other hand. Right Honourable Speaker, detention without trial. The Commissioner General of Government Prison, Right Honourable Speaker, Mr. Johnson Bashaija, recently decried the influx of prisoners on remand that have overwhelmed the prison system, prison service cells. According to the UPS, out of this 76,367 inmates, 39,453 are convicts, while 36,422 are on remand, cases of detention without trial. The law clearly stipulates that prisoners should spend at most 180 days on remand, an equivalent of 6 months. But unfortunately, the majority of inmates, including NUP supporters, illegally under court-martial, have spent more than that time. I will symbolically, Right Honourable Speaker, cite Abu Matovu, who was abducted from his workplace in Kampala in 2020. His mother, Ewan Nakabuye Hadija, and the father, Mwalimu Kabi Kenya, resident of Bukana village in Nakagongo Parish, Matete Sub-County in Sembabule district, revealed that their son is rotting in Kitalia prison without undergoing any trial. Dr. Honourable Speaker, since 2020. Dr. Honourable Speaker, institutionalized Islamophobia. Dr. Honourable Speaker, the Minister says the Ugandan prison service statistics reflect 16.4% of Muslim inmates, 29.5% Protestants, and 43.1% Catholics, which is obvious given the numerical setup of Christian faith, even the national census figures. But our area of concern, Right Honourable Speaker, is the deliberate campaign to depict Muslims as usual treason and terror suspects each time there is a high-profile murder. I am much alive to the fact that most terror suspects with the pending cases at the High Court International Crimes Division are Muslims, Right Honourable Speaker. There have also been persistent raids on madrasa schools, notably Imam Raida Islamic School in Buloba in 2023, and the Kamoga Home Rehabilitation Center, where heavily armed security officers were filmed torturing Muslim minors in 2023, among others. Right Honourable Speaker, without necessarily having to belabor the House, I have provided a chronology on page 15 of assassinated sheikhs without killers identified or tried successfully. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, page 16 offers this clear chronology of sheikhs and imams that have been killed, and at every moment the immediate suspects are Muslims. It is worth noting that in all these cases, the courts have not convicted any single individual. Right Honourable Speaker.
There's a procedure.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want your guidance, Right Honourable Speaker, on this report or rejoinder. When you analyze the attached documents, especially the national IDs, and the vehicles alleged to be kidnapping, you can neither read the number plate nor read the national IDs of the people alleged to be kidnapped. Are we proceeding right? Depend on documents that cannot be.
I have not yet allowed the laying of the documents. We will verify the documents before they are laid, and even whatever is on video, I will first watch in my office before it is laid. So we'll look at them. Whatever is not clear, we shall not lay. Yes.
I want to thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. My understanding of what the leader of the opposition is putting across in response to what the minister said with regard to identification of the kidnapping or offending vehicles is exactly what the law is explaining. That you cannot, because these people disguise themselves. And I thought it would be a matter of interest for government to know how to get those criminals. That probably would be tarnishing the government image. Would it not be procedurally right that you guide colleagues first to listen to this and interrogate the issue? As Honorable Fox Odoy said, a matter of human rights should actually, the NRM side should be more interested in this than us. Because tomorrow, you are the ones who will be looked at as Idi Amin.
Honorable members, honorable members, it is to the best of our interest, all of us. Whatever we are discussing now, we are representing the people of Uganda, not individuals. When you talk about NOB, for me, NOB votes for me. It doesn't vote for NOB. So those are still my voters. Those are your voters. And you can't know, there is nothing written anywhere that this is a NOB person, this is FDC, this is NRM or whichever. These are Ugandans and human beings, and we are here to represent the people of Uganda. And when we are here, we should learn to speak one word. When we are in this house, and I will tell you, government, we need to promote the rule of law. We need to. Yes.
Thank you for your guidance, Honourable Speaker. And I want to assure the House, for example, that in one of the family visits we made, some of the families of missing people are actually NRM supporters. So we are pursuing this without recourse to color or creed. We are only pursuing justice for these families, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, on page 7, I'm providing cases where high-profile officials were assassinated and the Muslims arrested enemies. I don't have to read through the detail, but I'm quoting March 7, 2017, the assassination of the former AIGP Andrew Kawesa, Felix Kawesa.
And members, I want you to know one thing. Most of these things are inherited, because I don't think any of you was in the house in 2017. We're inheriting some of these things, but we must discuss them. Me, I was not here.
I am also quoting the June 21 attempted assassination of our friend General Katumba Wamala. I'm quoting the September 2018 assassination of ASP Mohamed Chirumira. I am quoting the twin bombings of 2021. Right, Honourable Speaker, I wanted the Minister to understand why we said that there's a targeting of Muslims to which all of us as leaders, we must really have our eyes open and see whether it is really a matter away from our scrutiny. Honourable Speaker, on the issue of violations of human rights in fishing communities, the UPDF has, out of impunity, continued to terrorize and blatantly torture fishermen in various water bodies, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, fish is impounded from the fishermen by the military, who in turn make a killing out of it and ultimately enslave the fishing communities. Harassment and death at the hands of armed personnel have been reported on the lakes. Fishermen are terrorized and their nets seized. They are accused of using particular nets, now deemed illegal, yet they are manufactured in Uganda and others are cleared for import. Honourable Speaker, ironically, the government knows about the trading of such gears because taxes are levied on them. Parliament has passed numerous resolutions suspending UPDF activities on water bodies as far as the regulation of fisheries is concerned, all in vain. To date, the Fisheries and Aquaculture Act 2022 has not been operationalized and implemented. While the Fisheries and Aquaculture Act 2022 deems UPDF presence of the lakes unlawful, they will disrupt fishing activities and profit from the confiscated fish and fishing gear. Honourable Speaker, on page 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and the part of 23, I am enlisting names of Ugandans that have either been killed, maimed or drowned in various fishing communities. And this House of Parliament should not be held complicit in these violations. Right, Honourable Speaker, I understand that over 80 members of Parliament here represent fishing communities. They are waiting for our voice on these violations are provided, including names that can be verified with a proper inquest, Right Honourable Speaker. We are on page 23, Right Honourable Speaker. Additionally, that these atrocities have spread nationwide on all national water bodies and landing sites. Further mentions can be made concerning cases of reported from Choga County and Lamb landing sites, Right Honourable Speaker. The names have mentioned there have suffered at the hands of the military. There is overwhelming evidence showing the wanton and reckless conduct of the UPDF on our national waters. Isn't Parliament interested, Right Honourable Speaker, in investigating the owners and actions of the soldiers operating boats with the inscription, Wacha Waseme? Let them talk. Whether they are chasing other fishermen, they are very active. Isn't Parliament interested in understanding who is behind this? Right Honourable Speaker, as I conclude, the government is neither willing nor interested in investigating the concerns raised here. Institutionally, the bodies that have attempted to tackle issues of human rights violations have continually not delved exhaustively and effectively into the concerns at hand. Right Honourable Speaker, the government statement is therefore a replica of past statements on the same. It's not only detached from reality, but also laced with insensitivity and laden with mockery for the bereaved families of the missing victims, and they hereby reject it in its entirety. Now, Right Honourable Speaker, with a heavy heart and a deep sense of responsibility, to address a matter of utmost importance, the protection of human rights within our nation, Right Honourable Speaker, we are here to demand for justice and invite the House to join us. Our shared commitment to justice, equality, and the fundamental dignity of every individual compels us to confront the disturbing reports of human rights violations that have come to light. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the reports on abuse of human rights, enforced disappearances, and violence are non-partisan. They cannot be ignored, and they demand a thorough investigation. Where a sitting government elects to commit or deliberately fails to investigate unspeakable and horrendous actions committed against people by acting extremely intolerant to political dissent and delimiting the civic space as demonstrated herein, the only fortress that remains harboring their hope and trust is the legislature. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, Parliament serves as a stage where the voices of the oppressed are amplified, where people's representatives refuse to be silent about injustice, and where the struggle for human rights is unfettered, fully expressed, and conclusively pursued without fear or favor. Right Honourable Speaker, precisely that is the billing and the expectation of the public in the legislature is profound. Protection and promotion of the sanctity of human rights is our cardinal role. It is a clarion call to Parliament to uphold this honor. Honourable members, I humbly submit and implore you to rise to the occasion. As a matter of fact, this 11th Parliament will go down the annals of history as having risen to the occasion when the government turned against her people. Let us go on record as a people who knew what was right and acted in the best interest of the citizenry. Right Honourable Speaker, we therefore demand of the following and the support of the House. 1. Immediate unconditional release of all political prisoners rotting in numerous jails and illegal detention facilities without trial. Non-trial of these cases is a clear indication of lack of evidence on the side of government and a red flag that these persecutions are intended to shrink the civic space further and criminalize association with the opposition in our country. Honourable Speaker, these are prisoners of conscience that should not be used as a bargaining tool for the ruling party to suffocate civic space and the desire to settle outstanding political questions through these illegal detentions. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should explain to the nation under which law the government is charging the citizens with the offense of subversive activities. Not only, Speaker, the Constitution is very clear. You cannot raise an offense that's not prescribed by law. I have attacked several charge sheets with the offense of subversive activities, not anywhere on our penal laws. So it's the creation of the government without parliamentary involvement, Honourable Speaker. The offense of subversive activities is non-existent, but several people are rotting in jail on account of the offense of subversive activities, which is not prescribed by law, Honourable Speaker. 2, establishment of a judicial commission of inquiry. Honourable Speaker, we demand that with the utmost urgency, the formation of a commission of inquiry to investigate these glaring human rights violations. We propose that the said commission of inquiry be chaired by a judge of the High Court. We believe that the commission will be endowed with the authority, independence, and resources necessary to uncover the truth, to hold those responsible accountable, and to ensure that justice prevails. Right Honourable Speaker, our prayer is premised on Section 1 of the Commission of Inquiries Act, which empowers the Minister of Justice to issue a commission appointing one or more commissioners and authorizing those commissioners to inquire into a conduct of any officer in public service of Uganda, the conduct of any chief, the conduct of all management of any department of the public service, all of any public or local institution, or in any matter in which an inquiry would be for the public welfare. Right Honourable Speaker. In specific terms, we move that the Commission specifically handles the case of the 18 missing persons, the unresolved cases of targeted and slain Muslim clerics, and the infamous November 2020 killings. Right Honourable Speaker, the extent of suffocation visited on our common peoples require an independent hearing, especially in view of government reluctancy and clear disinterest in coming clean and deliberately disabling the wheels of justice several months after these gross violations were reported. We propose that the Commission, among others, considers the role of the security agencies, political leaders, the general state of intolerance during and after the 2021 general elections, and ultimately remedy for the victims and their families. 3, need for a select committee of Parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, Rule 190 of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure empowers Parliament to appoint a select committee to investigate a particular matter. We propose that the said select committee investigates the rampant cases of rape, defilement, destruction of property, murders, and justified arrests and illegal closure of many landing sites in the fishing communities across the country, and ultimately remedy for the victims and their families. 4, Right Honourable Speaker, all those persons not subjected to military law, not subject to military law, and are currently being tried before any military court, be transferred to civil courts under the direction of the Director of Public Prosecution as directed by the Constitutional Court in Constitutional Petition number 44 of 2015, retired Captain Amon Biarugaba and others versus the Attorney General, decided on 15th December 2022 and was never appealed nor stayed. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to pray and submit for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Lob. Honorable members, I have listened to the rejoinder of the law, and I wish to guide as follows. The laying, I want to look at each document that you're going to lay. give my people to check, because you might lie a paper without, when it has nothing. You people, leave me to deal with the LOP. Honorable members, LOP, you arrange your documents, then Mr. Kema will look at it. I have listened to the rejoinder of the LOP, and the rejoinder was in response to the ministerial statement of General Muhoozi. The ministerial statement was earlier on a response to the statement from leader of opposition. I therefore don't want to turn this debate into a ping pong. I want to borrow your word. You're the one who used that word, ping pong. I don't want it to be a ping pong between the General Muhoozi and then the leader of opposition. We should go straight to the issues that we want to achieve. There are prayers that have been put in place. Let's go straight to the prayers. And I want to retaliate to what Honorable Fox Odoi was saying. We are one house, and whatever we are discussing here is for the good of the people outside there. It is not for a party, not for an individual, and where it requires us to give and take, we will do that. We should be able to do that for the good of the people outside there. I want to now open a minimum, and I'm saying minimum debate. I will have 7 people from this side, 10, and 5 from this side. And then, honorable members, and then we'll have the last response from internal affairs, and then the speaker will rule. Have you heard? And no heckling anybody. No heckling anybody. I will only give somebody on this side to speak with the permission of LOP. 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 Please lay. Let's first have the documents laid by law.
Right, Honourable Speaker, the bit about the documents I'm laying is that I am quoting each of them in my statement, so there will be no contradiction or problem in appreciating what they are. The video clips, at your pleasure, you look at them.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Right, Honourable Speaker, you guided well, and I listened, that you'll hear 10 people from the other side and 5 from this side. And looking at your earlier guidance that this is free seating and that the space reserved for opposition.
I know who is opposition. I know who is opposition. And that's what I'm saying. I will not give you to speak before you hear from LOP.
I'm guided, Madam.
Yes.
Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the video evidence and the documentary evidence I have outlined in my rejoinder for the attention of the House. I beg to lay.
I will review the evidence and report back if it is worthy. Honorable members, I wish you could all sit. All of you sit. Honorable members, first relax. Let the tension come down. Relax. Who has the procedure matter? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm seeking your guidance. You're saying that they present the video clips to you, you review them, then you guide the House. is it procedurally right to continue with the debate until or before you review the videos and guide the House?
It is about substance over form. I thought you are an accountant. Substance over form. I have said I will go and review the document, the videos. If they are not relevant to this debate, I will come back and bring them on the floor that they were not. But we are closing this matter today. Yes, Smagola.
Madam Speaker, we are cross-border traders in Busia. Madam Speaker, whereas you have guided that the leader of opposition is given 5 slots in this very important
We shall
debate.
have 3 independents.
And we, thank you,
We
Madam
shall
Speaker.
have 3 independents.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Asuman, can you sit down? Dr. Bed, sit. You're not a smuggler. Okay. Since both I have got, now let me start with the independents. Dr. Musemesa, Honorable Katuntu, and Macho. But those are independents. Yes, Professor.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. A debate of this nature really invites us to be nationalists and debate calmly for the interests of our people. I listened carefully to the statement by the Minister and the rejoinder, and I think there are areas of common ground. Where evidence has been provided, I think this gives an opportunity for government, again, to cross-check and act appropriately in accordance with the law. I think this is okay, and I don't think there should be much contention. But I also take exception where some concepts are used that insinuate or try to demean people. And I would appeal to all of us in this debate to avoid such a concepts, such a insinuations that may ignite tensions in Parliament or even outside the community. And this is addressed to all of us. And finally, I would like to appeal to the oppositions that sometimes issues can also be handled outside the House. There are issues that can be handled outside the House. Madam Speaker, I request for your protection. You see, we are all in the government. The moment you are in Parliament, whether you're in opposition or what, we are all in the government because the government constitutes 3 branches. That's why consultations, even outside the House, are very critical for harmony of this country. Because even when you are provided evidence, someone somewhere outside the House will take an appropriate action. The action cannot be taken, some actions cannot be taken here. They will be taken somewhere. And that's why harmony and respect for one another is very, very important. So the way forward, I am convinced to support is that even after the debate here, let us continue to engage with one another with respect, so that we can all achieve the respect of human rights. Thank Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Katuntu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of human rights should be a common good. In the 60s, the people who were complaining about human rights abuses were basically people who were in the opposition. Then it came to the 70s. You had another regime in power. And the people who were being hunted, sometimes even killed, were those who were opposed to that regime. Then it came to the 80s. Those who complained were actually the ones who were in opposition, more specifically the Democratic Party, and those who were sympathetic to the NRA. In 1996, colleagues, the NRM regime established what we call the Odell Commission to investigate abuses of human rights from independence. For those of you who are familiar with that report, you would know what happened. This is not an era to talk about people disappearing without trace. We shouldn't. This is not a debate we should be having. And I don't want anybody to use this debate as a political spear to achieve a political purpose. But I don't want anybody also, in my view, to have a political shield. Because what eventually becomes a victim are the people of Uganda, who are vulnerable. So can we address all the partisan interests in this scholar and address the issue? And if we do that, really we will live in a better country tomorrow. Why would we start talking politically when somebody else there is complaining about a lost child, a lost son, a lost husband? And I am here calling myself a parent, and I'm not feeling the pain of that parent. I'm not feeling the pain of that child. Colleagues, these are not the issues to joke about. But when a debate like this comes, we are looking for solutions. We are looking for solutions to the challenge. And I would like to thank both sides of the aisle now that we seem to be calm, and let us discuss the solutions to the challenge we may be having. One, in the leader of opposition statement, he's complaining about three things. The first one, which I'll read, is about pre-detention without trial. Government, what can we do about it? What does the law say? Can you detain somebody without trial beyond 48 hours? So where should be the controversy be? Because it is constitutional. Do we have a constitutional order? So that is an area where we should all agree. If there are people who have been detained with trial beyond the constitutionally mandated hours, those government should undertake to have them released unconditionally. And if they committed offense, however grave the offense is, then they will be subjected to the due process of the law. What distinguishes civilized societies, colleagues, is us acting within the law and uncivilized people acting outside the law. That's what distinguishes us. So that should not be an issue for even Right Honorable Speaker, for us to debate, and even our emotions rise high. Two, I see the Right Honorable Lope suggesting that there should be a judicial commission of inquiry. I have had the opportunity to look at the law. That is a prerogative of the government. let them examine what is here, and if it warrants, then they have that opportunity. Because, Right Honourable Speaker, we cannot as Parliament resolve to create a judicial commission of inquiry because of the constitutional limitations we have. It would require resources, and once it is resources, then you cannot do it because it offends the Constitution. So, let the government listen and then say, well, in the circumstances, does this matter require a judicial commission of inquiry or not? 2. 3, the Right Honourable Leader of Opposition is suggesting to set up a select committee. We shouldn't have regrets in our own committees. We already have a committee on human rights. It's already in place. It's only under circumstances where we don't have a committee specifically provided for that we can resort to ad hoc and select committees. As of now, Right Honourable Speaker, colleagues, let us have faith in our own committees which are in place. Because that's what the rules say. These matters can be handled by the Human Rights Committee, and then we can report. We don't have to be every other time establishing commissions of select committees. That means we have no faith within our own committee. In any case, Right Honourable Speaker, where are you going to get these members who are not from this committee? If you don't have faith in them, in these ones who are here, and they all belong to different committees. So are we going to get members outside? And the people who are on these committees actually were designated by both sides. The opposition designated members to that committee, and the government side also designated members. So we have committees in place which can discuss and investigate these matters which are still pending. We don't have to be establishing another select committee. Right Honourable Speaker, there is this other issue which if there are I see compensation on page 3. What should be the problem? I thought the government had already taken that decision. I don't know why we're even debating it. Because the president came out clearly that if there are people who lost their lives unlawfully, then government is going to compensate their families. So the issue is, have those been compensated or not? And if they have not been compensated, then the government should undertake to follow up what His Excellency the President promised the country. We don't have to be debating so much about whether they should be compensated or not. Did they lose their lives unfairly during the riots? If they did, then they can be compensated in accordance with the law. And government has already taken a stand on that. So I expect the Minister of Justice...
Honourable Katonto, maybe just on compensation issues. And I think AG's office is in line with what the President said. They've compensated some people and others are still under negotiation. And I wouldn't want this document to be laid on table because it will expose these people. But we can share it with the Leader of Opposition.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, it's about the issue of the Army Court. It's quite controversial, Army Court trying civilians. But this matter is in the Supreme Court. The issue is in the Supreme Court. We cannot be prosecuting a case here and the courts of law prosecuting the same case. We can't. We are going to cause a conflict of institutions of government. We are trying to conflict with each other on who has the mandate to do what.
Honourable members, in that aspect, in that prayer, that would amount to sub judice. And I'm happy that my say that sub judice can only be determined by the Speaker, and I'm determining that issue amounts to sub judice.
Right, Honorable Speaker, now that you've determined, I can't even go beyond what I wanted to say. But at the end of the day, there is a case of the Honorable Kabeziruka. His
Kabaziruka.
Right, Honorable, something like that. Kabaziruka. All right, Honorable Speaker, that reminds me of a joke with my friend General Tafide. He was seated and somebody said, I want Chamsapat. And why doesn't he put S in the right place and CH in the right place? So that name, which Kabaziguruka, is already in the Supreme Court. And the issue there is whether the military courts have got mandate to try civilians in the court martial. Until that has been determined, I can't ask, I mean, we discuss it to what end? What are we going to resolve? That they have or they don't? Do we have that mandate? We can only have that mandate if we are changing the law. But even that to come to the floor, as long as that case has not been determined, I mean, in my view, like the Honorable Right Speaker rules rightly, it will be sub judice. So it is a very difficult subject, but we have no choice as of now. Let us await for the decisions of the Supreme Court, then we can one way or the other discuss. I would like to thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Just hold on a bit. Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, can we hear from you?
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I've listened keenly and carefully the rejoinder shared belatedly by the Honorable Leader of Opposition.
What is your procedure, Madam?
Madam Speaker, based on your earlier guidance, that this matter should not be a ping-pong between the minister and the leader of opposition. And you prepared us to debate, and you gave both sides the number. Have you changed the... Now that the minister is coming on the floor, Madam Speaker, I'm seeking for your
Honorable Ekanya, I'm not sure that you're competent enough to defy the directive of the Speaker.
Like I said, I listened carefully, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, about the rejoinder of the Honorable Leader of Opposition. And to show the seriousness of government, we had the courtesy even to listen to the new things he brought in his rejoinder, because we take seriously the matter of human rights. That said, I want to still maintain, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, and to stick to our response, which was honest, elaborate, and detailed. And it even left avenues for remedy for those who felt unsatisfied by that response, in anticipation. And those remedies are known to the law. Lope said that time, and I quote, he asked whether we feel pain and are alive, and if we feel for others and are human. I want to restate here that we are both and even more. We do, however, even have the obligation as government to protect and preserve human rights as enjoined by the Constitution of Uganda. In other words, it is our call. If I may, my colleagues will help on specifics, but I'll hazard some response on some of the issues raised in my response. Government didn't conceal anything. We even gave more. You remember, Leader of Opposition talked about, for example, only 21 fatalities. Government gave all the 56 people who lost their lives. Is that not consistent with a government that wants to account? He didn't talk about injured persons. We revealed that there were people who were injured. Is that consistent with someone who wants to conceal the truth? And I even beg the question of the logic of mentioning only 21 people. Were those only party members of NUP? And the rest didn't matter? Only he can answer. So government, in short, volunteered this information to demonstrate accountability. He didn't mention about the destruction in the riots and those responsible who were arrested, many tried and convicted, others released, and others on bail. That too is accountability. In some, accountability shouldn't be selective. It must be honest and total. On the vehicles, we gave our all, which was sufficient. In particular, about the two identifiable ones, we even identified the driver of the police vehicle. Regarding the girl who died, there was no attempt at all to cover up. What better accountability can we give? Fishing communities and related matters of pre-trial detention, explanations were given. In a nutshell, I want to say, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, that it is the right of any aggrieved person to invoke the many remedies under the law if they are not sufficiently convinced by what government does, like in this instance, our colleagues on the other side. But I want to pledge that we shall continue to fulfill our obligation to address misconduct within law enforcement and security agencies, be they related to some of the hanging issues here or others that may arise. It is our calling and duty to do so to ensure the safety and security of Ugandans. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable General, there is an issue that was raised on persons being detained without trial. We want a government commitment that you're going to make a follow-up. Make a follow-up. Yes. I mean, make a follow-up and see what can be done.
Right Honorable Speaker, we shall verify and if found true, take appropriate action.
Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, at the beginning in your preamble,
I thought I was going to get murdered. You gave me a list.
No, I rose on a procedural matter, Madam, with your indulgence. When you asked the minister to make a commitment on the people severally in detention without trial for several years, my understanding was that the minister was going to raise and commit with time frames, because the minister is not only aware of the names, the numbers, and where they are detained, he's actually responsible for where they are and their conditions. Honourable Speaker, I find it difficult and very compelling that I should listen to the minister at this level with that kind of tone. Right, Honourable Speaker, are we making headway?
Which tone do you want him to use?
Right, Honourable Speaker,
Maybe that's how he speaks.
Yeah, sure. The minister came here aware of people detained without trial for more than 2 and 3 years, respectively. He is also aware of the fact that the state has failed to prosecute them. Right, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable.
Without being clear on time frames and action, can Parliament debate in generalities?
Honourable Law, let's debate on this issue. I will make decisions. Okay? I'll make a ruling. Okay. Segona.
I want to thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank colleagues that have said that on matters human rights we should speak with one voice. I have opposed Genome 7 all my life, but I've had one occasion at least now to agree with him on certain matters. I remember those days when the Honourable Chris Bariomunsi was held at Ginger Road in relation to the death of the Honourable Serena Nebanda. I had my first agreement with Genome 7 when he said, those who say we kill civilians are idiots. Genome 7 has also told us, especially those of us who were not old enough during the days of Idi Amin, that the reason he called past leaders swine was because they did not know the value of human life. Let's all agree with him that we must value human life from today on. First, were there abductions and did we have disappearances? And the answer is in the affirmative. Number 2, are we proud as a parliament? Professor Mshemeza said we are government. Are we proud as government that some people could not be accounted for in the year 2023 and that we can haggle over that? The answer is in the negative. Madam Speaker, we are not comfortable that some of our children disappeared. They left children unattended to. I listened to a story of a woman who remained with a child.
May thought
yes, ma'am,
in this debate would act like what Honorable Katuntu did by coming with a way forward. Now that we know what is happening, how do we advise government?
Thank you. Let me advise government as you
How
guide.
do we work together to solve this problem?
Okay. Let me advise government. Number 1, the High Court has guided us in the case of Nicholas Opio versus the Attorney General. When Nicholas was being tried for a long time without readiness on the part of government, the court gave timelines, and what the state did was to withdraw. For those people that you have failed to prosecute for years, be humble and withdraw, because you cannot prosecute them.
Madam Speaker, I am an example. I'm a living example. In the year 2008, I was kidnapped. I was charged. 15 years down the road, I'm on bail. So, but there are those that are not on bail.
The issue has been understood.
That's point number one. Number two, and I'm advising government, as you asked me. Number two, we have disagreed as politicians on what to do with these people who are allegedly in disappearance. Let's get somebody, let's get an arbiter. The Constitution gave us an arbiter, and that is the judicial arm. Let's appoint a judicial committee, a judicial commission of inquiry, where everybody will go and present, and we shall all be bound. I am alive to the financial implications that have been alluded to by my brother, Honorable Katuntu. Very alive. That's why we are proposing to come up with a joint position as government. If we agree, it will come with the certificate of financial
So we are all
implications.
now government.
Yes. Thank you very much. We
Okay,
are.
I'm happy you have agreed your government.
Number three.
The issue,
Madam Speaker.
the issue that was raised by Honorable Katuntu affects Article 93. It has a financial implication of us getting a judicial service commission.
That's why it comes from all of us.
Yes.
Let's agree. Let's agree. Number four, these security organs of ours, we made a law, the Security Organizations Act. In Section 4, we did forbid them from arresting and detaining. Let them stop. Are you not embarrassed, colleagues in government, and now I'm talking about us, that somebody is in police custody today? The following day, they say, we handed him over to CMI, and he's missing. And is missing for years. Honorable members, honorable colleagues, let us stop. Let us give confidence and equipment to our police to do their work. Let the security organizations do their work. I can see the trouble with my brother, General Muhoozi. General Muhoozi is the Minister of State for Internal Affairs. But he's not in charge of the people abducting. He's here speaking. The English call it being the ugly face of the devil. The person in charge of the abducting institutions is General Muhoozi. He's not here. Sorry for the closeness of the name. General Muhoozi. Security. We are dealing with CMI. We are dealing with ISO. Because police had these people in custody and handed them over to CMI. The drones are not operated by the police.
He wants,
Madam
he wants to
Speaker.
clear something.
Just let him clear. I know. my
For the
brother is
record, CMI is not under the Honorable Jim, it's under UPDF. Under the Honorable both here.
And the Honorable Board.
I'm happy now that I have the suspect.
The suspect is here.
And I have the suspect closest to me and to my heart. I want to thank General Muhoozi for correcting me on that. But we have ISO. Now that both Honorable is here, let's see a commitment that his forces are going to comply with the law. Honorable both. We made a law and we said, your people should not arrest and detain citizens. And beyond detaining, you're detaining unconstitutionally. I want you to express your pride on the microphone and say, we are doing the right thing under the Constitution and under the Act. Right, Honorable Speaker. Let's agree. I agree with the Honorable Katuntu that we have our committees and we should empower them to work. And these committees include the Committee on Human Rights, which, for the record we have stated before, is an oversight committee and is not a sectoral committee. It should not be the other side, it should be this side. That notwithstanding, and I have immense respect for the committee, as well as some fair respect for the Honorable Fox Odoi, and I will explain why fair. Why fair? Because he's the only one who has disagreed with the entire House. And that notwithstanding, Madam Speaker, even a select committee is a committee of parliament. It is envisaged in the rules to do a specialized job. And we have done it before. And that one is done by none other than the person we trust most in this house. It is you, the Speaker, Madam. Sit in that chair. Take that decision. Appoint this select committee. For those other issues that we cannot agree on as politicians, let us refer them. Indeed, I am very happy the Honorable Minister for Justice has come out to say that as government, and I quote him, we are stuck naked on the issue of human rights. Now, I want all of us to wash ourselves clean. Let's appoint a committee that is purely professional, that is devoid of political biases, that will bring all of us together. It is a discretion, I agree, a discretion of the minister. That's why we are here, to appeal to the minister. Unfortunately, he's not here. Oh, the deputy is here. I'm glad that the Deputy Minister for Justice is here. Clarification is never denied, especially from a person like me.
Be respectful, Honorable. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank Honorable Segona for yielding the floor. You insinuate that committees of the House produce biased work. Could you clarify, because you are saying a select committee is the only one, just hold on, is the only one which can give work which is professional and biased, as if the various committees which we constitute in the House cannot give objective and professional work. Could you clarify
Honorable
that?
members.
I'm very happy.
Honorable members, before you, first of all, the committees that we have are very professional committees. And the committees do a very good job. One of my best committees in this house is Park Central. Park Central, headed by none other than Honorable Segona and Honorable Asuman. It's one of the best committees. And let's, like what Honorable Abudu said, let's learn to have trust in our committees. Unless we don't have a line committee that should be able to handle this. Now, we have a committee of human rights, and the person you have there is actually a very good person. Human rights. All honorable members, we need to agree on this. Let human rights handle that issue. Where there is a problem, then we shall intervene. I have two suggestions. One, get a select committee, and then the other one get the line committee. I'm going to put a question.
I have to clarify, I've been misrepresented on the record, Madam. Right Honorable Speaker, with immense respect to my brother, the Honorable Dr. Chris Baryomunsi. Actually, he has reinforced my position by seeking this clarification. I have trust in our committees. I only said, on those matters where we have disagreed, not disrespected, we have disagreed on matters to do with how to handle the missing persons. I suggested a commission of inquiry. With respect to the committee issues of the Honorable Fox Odoi, who is senior to me, I guess not by age, but length in legal practice, I only said a select committee is equally a committee of the House. I was shielding him because this committee has handled these matters and we have not come to a conclusion. We are still haggling, we are still fighting, and we want to remain united. The Speaker, in choosing a select committee, is guided by specific considerations. For example, the professions of the members is choosing, the experience she is choosing, the experience of the members she's choosing, the collectedness of the members she is choosing, and of course, the numerics in terms of numbers. You want to get people that are fewer and therefore dedicate sufficient time to address the issues in contention. Finally, Madam Speaker, it hurts all of us. It hurts all of us that in the year 2023, when we are losing people to COVID-19, we are losing people to HIV, we can still lose people with our own negative interventions. I pray that...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's reduce the time. Let me have Tim. Tim was raising a procedure matter, then I come back to you.
Yes. Madam Speaker was raising a procedure matter to my honorable colleague. It's not on the floor. But
no, that is not on the floor. It is okay.
I'll put my...
No, you first
sit. Debate.
First sit. Honorable Boa.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
This boy is disturbing me.
Madam Speaker, the LOP in its conclusion invited the House to rise to the occasion. I am rising to the occasion, first of all, to say the following. One is to thank you, LOP, because this has been a journey. And from a long list, we came to 18. This statement on page 4, the LOP made a choice to highlight some of the cases that clearly indicate glaring contradictions. And Right Honourable Speaker, I want to restrict my submission on the written text of the rejoinder. Parliament, as the temple of legislation, is a house of record. And our record must be consistent, in my humble opinion, not full of contradictions. This is a rejoinder, to me, in a layman language, a response to the statement by the minister. I wish to start, and also I am going to raise glaring contradictions, because they are. On page 7, under the name Semudu Michael Jackson, on the attachment that were laid on table, there exists a photocopy of the national ID of one Semudu Michael Jackson. And I want to confirm that the national ID is indeed a true record of Semudu Michael Jackson. However, on the list that was submitted earlier on, where the minister made a response, under the name Semudu Michael Jackson, these are now contradictions I'm also raising. The reference number given by the same source was KMG GEF 460 of 2023. The rejoinder, the same name Semudu Michael Jackson, has now a different reference number. The reference number is SDREF 84 26 11 2020. The source is the statement. It is here contained on page 7, and this is Annex F of what the minister laid on table the other day. That said, Right Honourable Speaker, I wish to move to Mr. Wangolo Dennis on page number 6. And the reason why I started with this, because the leader of opposition chose an evidence-based submission, especially on the 4. And this is an evidence-based parliament. On page number 6, under the case of Wangolo Dennis, the leader of opposition in his rejoinder...
Yes, procedure.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, earlier on, you kind of showed us guidance by appreciating the Honourable Katuntu for coming up with solutions. Right Honourable Speaker, the Chief Whip is before us here, talking about matters that are going to raise tempers further. Right Honourable Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, we had reached a level of giving solutions, and I remember the Honourable Segona was advised to go to solutions. Can the government chief whip do not take us back? Because we have those arguments. You have to tell us, go to the level of solutions. Give us the solutions. How do we end this? That's all we are waiting for. Madam Speaker, are we proceeding well with the chief whip taking us back to peripherals when we had made the steps? Otherwise, all of us can go into those small arguments.
Honorable members, I loved how calm the House, and I want to appreciate Katuntu, Honorable Katuntu. He put a House in a calm position, and we should have finished this issue. Honorable members, and I told you people, let's not open the Pandora box. Let's not, because they are there. Let's not open the Pandora box. Now you've seen what this side is also bringing. Now we're on ping pong. Ping pong. Wait. He's not lying. Honorable members, if you want to make a noise, Nansana is not very far. You get it, eh? Let's agree. You know, we already have solutions to this. Because for me, I would put each and every item, every prayer to vote. And we conclude on this. The issue of detaining people without trial is something which was even said is not anything to be discussed. It is not correct. Honorable members, I want us to start with that issue of detaining people beyond the 48 hours. It is that leads into another disappearance. You get it, eh? So that should not be an issue. Honorable both, what do you think about that? Honorable members, listen, let's solve a problem.
I think, Right Honourable Speaker, I want to agree with you. And I want also to appreciate our senior, Honorable Abudu Katuntu, though he's holding his chin after he has given very valuable prognosis and way forward. However, what needs to be clarified here is if we are to get solutions, we need to get solutions based on correct facts. The issue of human rights is as human as it is. nobody can ever show any sign of pride, which is actually absence of space for wisdom.
Yes. Yes. Honorable members.
So the issue,
These people are obstructing me.
The issue of pre-trial.
Yes.
I've looked at.
Listen, this is a very important issue. Honorable, both.
Yes, and I think that we were
Solution,
making a way forward. In one way or the other, this has to come to an end. How it ends, we can also agree on it here. And we must agree. The General Muhoozi stated that we are alive, we are human. Being a minister does not detach us from the populace.
True.
Being ministers or being in the government does not mean that we are blind to the suffering of other people. So we should not be cast out as we are insensitive, numb, or...
Honorable members, let's listen. I thought you want a solution.
I said to be portrayed so. And you are my junior, you need to listen. 36,000 people, 422, is captured on the page 15 of the Lopez report, which these statistics were given by the government. What is disturbing here is that it says all these are on remand, courtesy of detention without trial.
Yes.
You never get to be remanded if you've not initiated the process of trial. Any basic lawyering skills. Now, if we can, which can be outside here, and I've said it here, we need, I'm Minister of Defense, I'm in the Ministry of Defense, actually even now holding the fort. If I get to know the specific number and the names of people that are with us, or ministers, or CMI, or not in a gazetted place, we can make undertaking to resolve this matter. But those who are in remand, those are people in a legal process. It could be delayed. No. Yes. Okay.
First.
Clarification.
Yes.
I think
why don't you leave him to finish?
Remand is remand. It cannot be that one, and I need the glove to clarify here whether this is what he meant, that the 36,000 people, 422, which government said they are on remand, and these are the people he construes as detention without trial. That basic lawyering skills and knowledge should help us. And let Lob clear.
Let's have Lob.
First of all, I want to thank the Comrade OO for rising to the occasion to speak to this gap. I raised those figures, right, Honourable Speaker, to bring to the attention of the House the extent of the lethargic approach to justice, especially in our criminal justice system. And
you listen to Lob when he's making
in fact,
clarification.
OO is brilliant enough to know what actually I was referring to. He's only trying to be political. I did state those figures to tell the extent to which our prisons are congested, and part of the congestion is occasioned by person detained without trial. Secondly, he's saying that he's committing to intervene if he gets to know who is in CMI, who is with the ISO. From whom are you trying to know those people with the CMI and ISO? Is it us or you in charge?
No, what he says is going to find out from
Right Honourable Speaker, that was not his statement. Let me finalize. And you see, because we are dealing with the evidence, I have laid bare the fact that there is admission of government agencies to the detention of Damulira. Let him respond to Damulira in particular terms as a starting point.
There's a procedural matter.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you for allowing me to raise the procedural matter. Honourable Speaker, you are allowing the House to debate on what I would call half information from the Right Honourable Lope. Lope has presented a half of the information and has laid it on table, some other information that would help this House take a decision. Because we have not seen all the information, it would be a disservice to this country and the House to take a decision. And he has tricked this House to provide to demand for an conditional release, which is not in the power of this House, which I don't agree with him. He has provided also for establishment of Judicial Commission of Inquiry. Commission of Judicial Inquiry cannot go with select committee, and we don't have power to establish a Commission of Inquiry. If we have power to establish the select committee, which select committee can get all the information and presented materials under Article 90 of the Constitution, let it be so that we have a select committee, we process the matter, we come here, take a decision which is informed. Otherwise, we have a half information from the Speaker. Would it be procedurally right for us to have all the information as processed, as presented, so that we take a decision? I thank you.
Honourable members, we will take a decision on whether we will have a committee select, whether human rights or whichever. We'll take a decision at the end of it. We wanted a clarification first from Honourable Bothoball. Since the General said CMI is or whichever is under him. So can you give us a clarification and what you think about the specific prayer? Specific prayer.
Right Honourable Speaker, I have understood now what Lope referred to about the delay in trying people and the number that he quoted. And I think that one still falls under Uganda Police. But when we are here, and Uganda prisons, when we are here, and I thought for once that since human rights is as universal as the Catholic Church, I thought we would speak with one voice. That we would not politicize anybody's right, anybody's death. Right Honourable Speaker, now that the Lope, my very good friend, we've never had he has clarified to me, I am devoid of any other doubt that he was referring to those who are in detention, who are on remand, not those in CMI.
So what is the way forward? What is the way forward? Can I have Attorney General? Yeah?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. The matter in issue is the allegation that so many people are in detention without trial.
Asuman, why are you pointing at my age? Come back where you're seated. Come back.
Right Honourable Speaker, the matter in issue as raised by Lope is that so many people are on remand without trial.
You sit.
I repeat, Right Honourable Speaker, the matter as raised by the Leader of Opposition is that very many people are on remand without trial. That we accept and agree. And this last week, this very parliament passed an amendment to the Judicature Act to increase the number of judges. And you know for a fact that following the enactment of the...
Go ahead.
You know for a fact that the Judicial Service Commission has been appointing judicial officers to increase the number in order to deal with the backlog. So, no effort is being spared to make sure that the numbers of people that are on remand pending trial are brought down. Thank you.
Thank you. We actually increased to 35. 35.
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker. The Land Attorney General is making reference to case backlog, meaning that the state investigated and therefore matters are pending trial. Is the Land Attorney General aware of the so many empty files of persons detained for more than 2 years without any report of an investigation? Are you alive to that? Do they require appointment of judicial officers, like you're saying, that they were pending, when there's not a single, we have appeared before court, and all they say, for more than 2 years, the state is still investigating. Okay. Is he alive to that fact?
AG? AG?
Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker. My friend, the Deputy Attorney General, the Judicature Amendment Act we passed was in respect of increasing justices of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court.
The bill we passed?
Yes.
It's not yet an act.
Okay. In respect of the justices of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, who only entertain matters at appellate level. And we are talking about pre-trial detainees, people who have been detained either by remand of court or otherwise, but who have not been tried for longer days than is constitutionally provided for. Two, we are talking about putting people in jails in respect of non-existing offenses under the guise of the what? Subversive activities. Can you look through your prisons and get all those people who are in prisons on the infamous subversive charge, and to those who have exceeded their constitutional dates on remand, and have them released?
Honorable, and these are things I'm saying that let's now go to solutions. Let government go and look at its prisons, look at itself. You get it, eh? Look at itself and understand if there are people who are in prison and have no cases. If they are political, but it must be with thorough analysis. Criminality should not be mixed with the politics. Let him respond.
Thank you for your guidance, Right Honourable Speaker. I do appreciate my senior colleague, Honourable Wilfred Nwagaba. I spoke first in respect of the administration of judiciary law that we passed in the 10th Parliament, which allowed the Judicial Service Commission to appoint more judicial officers. But be that as it may, be that as it may, I don't know where you have gone now. Be that as it may, I do understand the concern of the Leader of Opposition that there are people who have exceeded the mandatory period on remand. Now, we need to work backwards. I can undertake to engage with the Chief Justice, with the Principal Judge, with the Chief Registrar, so that they find out, and the Deputy Chief Justice, and the DPP. we shall work together as judiciary,
Clarification, Madam
work
Speaker.
backwards,
Clarification.
and see if there are people who have spent a period longer than they ought to on remand, then they will be released.
You know the problem it is like you don't want solutions. Somebody is committing himself and saying, I am going to make a follow-up and then get back. Chivumbi. Then Honorable...
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. When I was in school, and I was there at the same time with my friend Oboth, we were told the incomparables, things you cannot compare. We are speaking about any government, any office of government, be it a member of parliament, undertakes to protect people's lives and property. And I'm speaking for justification for number 2. I'm being specific on the establishment of Judicial Commission of Inquiry. Right Honorable Speaker, can we find space to compare a missing person with financial implication? Because what you are trying to do...
And also before you go there, can you look at all your books of law and find out whether you have a body mandated to handle issues of human rights, and ask yourself, why are you running from that body? You as Parliament of Uganda formed that body, gave it the powers to handle issues of human rights. Now you're saying let's go away and form a Judicial Service Commission. I want you to look at the two things.
I will navigate those issues, Right Honorable Speaker. I think we should be the last persons where any Ugandan is missing. Countries commit troops to die. They go to war if their persons are missing. Now, anyone, even they go to war to reclaim dead people, those who have been in the front line. If your colleague dies, you can commit more soldiers, risk more death to claim a dead person. But here we are on this day, trying to invoke a financial implication in the argument against finding missing Ugandans. Right Honorable Speaker, I find that argument not only weak, no, I can't use that word. I find
Who is that who has said nonsensical? Who is that? Who? Not Chivumbi. Who is that? It is you. No, you. Nansana. Get up. You can't do that in this house. You people, you're not going to take us for granted in this house. I have a level of patience. Can you come and apologize?
Sorry, Madam Speaker, for the statement I made.
Withdraw it.
I'm withdrawing it. But
what statement?
Madam Speaker, I was not
You
on
said
the...
nonsensical. How?
It was not on record, but...
Can you withdraw it?
I've withdrawn it, Madam.
Wama Haji,
With due respect,
continue.
Madam Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, there is a video that I've watched over and over again by President Yoweri Museveni. I think that video was, that statement he made immediately after taking over power. He said it on what? He said his government, he will not preside over a government where a Ugandan is lost and cannot be traced or are not accounted for. Our argument in the Select Committee, Right Honorable Speaker, we don't have the powers, is to recommend to government, if it finds it necessary, under these circumstances, where, Right Honorable Speaker, one, the Committee of Parliament has had a go at this issue. The Human Rights Commission has had a go at this issue and failed. And given that those other committees have had their chance and fallen short of satisfying or finding Ugandans that are missing, and we are talking about 18, we can speak about a single Ugandan. We must find somewhere to trace any Ugandan who is missing. And if it means a little bit spending public money, it should be spent. I like government to come back here and reject this decision and say, we don't have that money. That could be it. So I find that argument, which has been really ably moved by my senior colleague, fairly not comparable. Even in relative terms, I studied the law of relativity. Even in relative terms, it's difficult to take. Can you imagine? We have a heart, we have a space in our heart to talk about financial implication for a father, for a mother, for a daughter, for a son, of a father missing. I think I would like to appeal to this House in this hour, evening hour, is that recommendation of judicial inquiry cannot be struck down because of financial implications. What then are resources of government for? If they cannot be for to serve to people, to protect people's life. Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure. Procedure.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. It is not how beautiful you can put the point. What does the Constitution say? What does the Constitution say? Article 93. It bars this House to do what you are saying. Just, can I have the Constitution? Please, this is not an academic argument. It's not an academic argument. If you want to do something, please, however well-intentioned you are, you must do it in accordance with the law. So, and Right Honorable Speaker, if I may read this.
Are we talking about the Judicial Service Commission? I mean the Judicial Commission?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, Parliament shall not, shall means mandatory, unless the bill or the motion is introduced on behalf of government, proceed upon a bill, including an amendment bill that makes provision for any of the following. Proceed upon a motion, that is B, upon what? A motion. And resolutions always arise out of a motion. Include an amendment even to that motion, the effect of which would be to make a provision for the purposes of specified in paragraph A of this article. So, however well-intentioned you are, you must act within the law. And if you want to act within the law, because you are well-intentioned, I can tell you, you'll be acting illegally or unconstitutionally.
Honorable Katonto, if I understood Honorable Chivumbi very well, he knows and is aware of the law, he is aware of Article 93. And for him, he's saying, he's requesting government. He's requesting government, not that he does not have the locus to bring the motion, to that effect. But he's requesting government. And that's why I was saying, now that is requesting government, that's why we will put now, we will now go and look at prayer by prayer and see whether government is willing to bring a motion to that effect or not.
And the government, we don't need explanations.
Yes, there's a procedural matter from Dr. Chris. Hey, you want to submit? Yes, there's a procedural matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I do understand where the opposition are coming from, but I just wanted us to look back, Madam Speaker. I'm on the floor, please. I just wanted us to look back.
You understand where our colleagues are coming from?
Yes. Yeah, I understand where our colleagues are coming from. Thank you for the clarification. Madam Speaker, the Committee on Human Rights, Parliamentary Committee of Human Rights, presented a report on this matter. I'm reaching to
Honorable.
a point. I'm just coming to a point.
Please,
Madam Speaker.
Sit. Honorable, sit.
Right Honorable.
We are now moving towards the closure. I chaired that committee.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. It's in the interest of government. And
Honorable members, listen to Haj.
Right Honorable Speaker. It's in the interest of government. And it is in the interest, I think, most fundamentally, for the head of state, who is on oath to protect and protect people's lives and properties, to ensure and to take responsibility, to ensure that missing persons are accounted for. Even if they were to be pronounced dead, it's in the interest of government. I want to implore my friends here and senior colleagues in this parliament that they should find a space within their government to go ahead, and good enough the Prime Minister is here. I would like to implore you to go ahead, given the contradictions and the consistency. The Right Honorable Speaker, who was in the chair when this issue came up, read a number of times your house, even you when you are in the chair, where these issues have featured. So they are not one-off. Consistently, there have been arguments. Therefore, we want to implore the government side to find it within their power to appoint a judicial service commission. Commission of inquiry.
Commission of Judicial.
Right on. If you might permit,
Commission of Inquiry.
if I were to speak on number 3, because we are finding, I'm only speaking on the, if I'm to speak on the last one.
Which last one is?
Number, Select Committee of Parliament. I think my
Honorable members,
senior
why
friend,
don't we handle these prayers one by one? We would have even finished. Let's handle one by one. Prayer number 1. Prayer number 1.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think on prayer number 1, the Land Attorney General had already made a commitment, but we want to clarify that the government has no political prisoners. Ugandans are arrested on the basis of suspicion for having committed a crime. And the concern being raised here is that there could be Ugandans whose trials have delayed. And the Attorney General undertook to check with the relevant authorities that in case their people who are in jail and their trials are delaying, then action will be taken. So I think that one.
You see, before you go and make analysis of these prisoners, you cannot know whether they are political, whether they are what. So what we want you to do, what we want you to do, go and make analysis and report back.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Which Attorney General had made a commitment?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, right, Honorable. I am speaking as a government minister. No. You see, Madam Speaker, a political prisoner presupposes that Honorable Poga is arrested because his opposition is NUP. And I'm saying no, that the people arrested by government
Honorable members,
is on the basis
Honorable
of
members,
suspicion of committing a crime.
Honorable members,
yes.
Honorable members, the issue that is being raised is on borders Article 28 of the Constitution, fair hearing, and Article 29, freedom of conscience, expression, movement, religion, and assembly and association. So I want executive to go and examine these prisoners and cause release of these prisoners. Go and examine them. The prisoners who have been there beyond the mandatory time, who have not been tried. Yes. I have not mentioned the political prisoners. I am saying prisoners who are there. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, can I request honestly that we go by the proposal of the Attorney General?
Yes.
Instead of setting a bad precedent, which is not even practical, that people can be released through Parliament. Let's go.
No, Parliament is advised.
Yes.
Parliament is ordering.
Because that's what it comes to.
By the way, as members of Parliament, we are constrained to do the work of courts. That's not our role. And as such, we are only imploring government to go and act. Our work is not the work of court. Prayer 2, yes?
I'm very proud of you. What you are telling the executive is not that we are not directing the judiciary to release. Withdrawing a case which you instituted is a function of the executive which is charging people. I have been old enough here. I have witnessed President Museveni talking to various groups. One group came from Rukunjiri, the other group came from Teso, and he told them, I am going to solve that. And it was solved. And we are not here to show our might. We are not here to, we are here to show our wisdom, reason, maturity, and statesmanship. Yes, I will clarify.
You've referred to a group from Kisoro, Rukunjiri, and also Teso. Has any other group done the same? Or you are trying to achieve what that group achieved through this house?
Can we go to prayer number 2?
I thank you for ignoring him.
Prayer number 2.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The commitment earlier on by the Land Attorney General is a step in the right direction. And I concur that what we are doing here is not judicial, nor even quasi-judicial, and therefore we have no space ordering the other arm of government to act. But the executive here at our disposal can commit to time frames. The executive cannot work endlessly. We would like to know what the executive would do, that we can know that they have done their part and only another arm has not done their part. And that cannot be endless, bearing in mind the time people have spent in detention without trial. The executive cannot have latitude of working in endless space. May we get commitment of space, time frame from the Land Attorney General, Right Honourable Speaker. Because can we again have to wait for another 1 year, 2 years, and then the general comment is that we made a commitment, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Attorney General, you have an answer? You sure?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I did say that I do understand the observation made by the Leader of Opposition. But we shall go beyond the list they present because we do not know its authenticity or not. But we believe there might be other people in the
he's
system.
asking on the timeline.
I'm
time
coming.
frame.
That's where I'm heading, Right Honourable. Right Honourable Speaker, I committed to write to the Chief Justice, to the Deputy Chief Justice, to the Principal Judge, to the Chief Registrar. I will copy that letter to the Chief Whip, to the Prime Minister, and the Leader of Opposition. I cannot give timelines because I do not have control over courts.
Honorable members,
I want us to be very careful.
Honorable
The judiciary is independent. I want us to be very careful and mindful of the fact that the judiciary is independent. I'm simply going to express the concerns raised by this parliament to the head of the judiciary, the Chief Justice.
Honorable Love, what we can do, since this matter is still before and is continuing, I don't think those are the last people to be arrested or whichever disappear. I want us to continue, listen, I want us to continue engaging in this. Give me a write-up on what you've agreed with the other arms of government. I personally am going to engage the head of executive. I am going to engage the head of executive on this matter, and then I will get a response to that effect.
Right Honourable Speaker, that commitment is heartwarming. But because we are a House of Record, the Land Attorney General needs to be very clear on his intentions. Namely, that does not require the Land Attorney General to seek the indulgence, let alone the express or tacit permission of the CJ, or the deputy, or the principal judge to discontinue prosecution, especially the nature that has not even evolved. It does not require the Chief Justice. So we want to understand exactly what the Land Attorney General wants to pursue, so that we can know what we are dealing with, because these are state functions.
But, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, it is the law that you can't direct DPP. What are we talking about?
The independence. Honorable members, Lope, I am going to give you a feedback because I know there is one person who will resolve this. What? Prayer 2. The second prayer. Government.
Our view, Madam Speaker, is that if we're combining 2 and 3, is that we have trust in the institutions of government and even in this parliament. And we do feel that if there are issues which are still subsisting, the existing institutions of the state, like Human Rights Commission, and the others can take them up. Because I read the report of the Human Rights Commission, their concern was non-cooperation of the affected parties. If the leader of opposition can undertake that he can work with the families to make sure they provide information, because most of them, they were saying, we want clearance from our party. That's the concern the Human Rights Commission was raising. That's all. So,
Honorable
So,
Government,
so our view,
we have two views.
yes.
The two views on 2 is a judicial commission of inquiry, where Honorable Katuntu rose on an issue of 93, Article 93, and that is only mandated for you. What we can only do is to implore government to bring a motion to that effect. Then the other issue is that we have a constitutional body that is mandated, and that would, they would proceed under Article 48, 51, 52, and 53 of the Constitution of Republic of Uganda to investigate, and that is the Human Rights Commission. And it is the only one mandated to handle issues related to human rights. There are two positions.
Yes. Right, Honorable Speaker, I was submitting on the very issue that the numbers have been oscillating from 400 to 38 in the Human Rights Committee.
Commission, not committee.
No, Committee of Parliament, 38. To 30, the Human Rights Commission, and now to 18. And according to the report of our committee, they reduced to 4. Human Rights Committee. Now they rejoined her. Now, our view as government is that the number dropped.
Lope and Honorable Bua.
Can I be listened to?
Lope
by
and
the law?
Honorable Bua, can you go out and sort out your issues? If you want to fight, you fight in the corridor. Yes?
Yes, our view as government is that there are existing remedies within our legal framework and institutional framework. I read the report of the Human Rights Committee, and actually that's where the number dropped from 30 to 18 because they were able to trace the 12. And their concern was that the next of kin who were provided were not cooperating. And many of them were saying,
James, first come back.
we have to get clearance from our political party, NUP, some of them. So our request is that if the leader of opposition and leaders of the opposition can undertake to help in providing information, then this work, if there are areas where there is still dissatisfaction, the Human Rights Commission and the other state agencies can do this work. And therefore, we shall not bring a motion to this effect. Our view is that this can be done by the Human Rights Commission, provided our leader of opposition supports the families to make sure the information is provided, they can trace this. Yes, that's our view.
And honorable members, I want to also remind you that under Article 54, it talks about the independence of Human Rights Commission. And for me, I'm not going to go into argument. Those in favor of the Human Rights Commission, I mean Judicial Commission, I'm going to put two questions.
With your indulgence, Madam Speaker, we need to get these issues very clear and without emotions. I have, with my team, gone out of our way to establish how the commission worked. In fact, on 3 occasions, the family members attested to the fact that the commission asked them to negotiate with the government for a financial settlement. Secondly, it's not true that these families did not cooperate. In fact, when the commission at one occasion declared that they are going to close the files, we reached out to the families, put them in a vehicle, and took them to the commission. And they pointed to people that were saying they have never seen them. They says, you came home, we saw you, why are you denying our existence? So, Right Honourable Speaker, this commission is so disabled in the circumstances to deal with this matter. It is conflicted. It has been negotiating financial settlement, Right Honourable Speaker. The chairperson is a brazenly partisan, Right Honourable Speaker, with due respect. Right Honourable Speaker, secondly, in the minister's statement.
There's an order. Honorable Mpuga, Honorable Lop, we are 3 leaders of this institution. And you know very well that the Human Rights Commission reports to Parliament. Before we give them an assignment, why don't we call them and talk to that team and agree with that team, this is what we expect of you. That is what we expect of you. Short of that, you're in appointments committee, we can send these people back to the sender if they are not doing what is expected of Ugandans.
Right Honourable Speaker, again, in General Muhoozi's submission earlier on, he clearly stated that police was able to form an NGO and reached out to, yes, I said...
Not to form, to pretend to be an NGO.
Of course, that's why I have gestured with inverted commas. They formed one, and that's when they were able to access the families. So the assertion of the good doctor here, that the families did not cooperate, should not be on our record. It's wrong. Actually, one of the demands we are making here of the good general, you share with the Parliament the report of the police NGO, because they were able to reach the families, and therefore, the fact that the families did not cooperate does not arise.
Now,
in the submission I have made, the video evidence, the families attest to the reach outs, the proposals for financial settlements, and all manner of indecent proposals, Right Honourable Speaker. So they were reached, and these good honourable ministers not so well.
Now,
so
advise me. I want your very sincere advice. The person who is supposed to bring, to propose for the Judicial Service Commission is government. In the circumstance that government settles for the institution that was made by this house, that's Human Rights Commission, what happens?
Right Honourable Speaker, of course the jury is not on us. The jury is out on the executive to prove their commitment to resolving this matter. And I cannot answer to government commitment. The jury is out on them.
Right Honourable, this tells you, listening to Honourable Mpuga, Matthias, Uwamasaka, and
why are you bringing an order? Does he come from Bugiri? He comes from Masaka.
Yes, and
he comes from Masaka and he's proud to be from Masaka.
We are making this.
Sit.
We are making. When you see a neighbor complaining over a lost neighbor's chicken, you know the neighbor is a thief himself. But in this case, we are making this progress and making retrogress.
Asuman.
Honorable.
Asuman. I even thought you're in Kigali.
I did not even mention.
What are you doing here?
I did not mention any name. I did not mention any name here. Right Honorable Speaker, we were making some progress here.
No, we are getting progress.
Yes. And you've
you-
asked a
if you are
very,
not-
you've asked a very pertinent question to the opposition leader of opposition. And what would be the effect, the total sum of or even the resolution that we shall make? Because he may not believe in the Human Rights Commission. He does not believe, that's what I got. And from him, may not believe in the committee of parliament, but he would want a select committee of parliament, which will be appointed, taking all the 3 or 4 shades of parliament. This just tells you how complicated this matter is. That the leader of opposition, he is, with the team, he is determined to stretch this house beyond your limit.
Honorable members, love.
Let's help each other.
You know, one person who has always been supportive to me and continues to be supportive to me while in this seat is none other than Honorable Mpoga. And I don't think you would want to stretch me to to what is expected. Honorable members, I am putting a question. But now don't stretch me.
No. But, Madam Speaker, I understand the demeanor of OO. And you see, he's trying to invite the presiding officer into this because the executive have failed to own up. Now he wants the presiding officer to take a decision while they have time and space to commit on what they are going to do. Madam Speaker, this matter has nothing to do with the vote. It has got everything to do with understanding the duty of the executive.
We have failed to understand. We have failed to understand each other.
No, Madam Speaker,
What?
I challenge the Prime Minister to raise the microphone and say that government has failed to understand their duty in this matter. Then the House will take a decision. It has nothing to do with the vote in this House.
Honorable members, maybe before we continue, me and Honorable Mpoga and Honorable Taeva will want to meet the Human Rights Commission on Monday in my boardroom. If the institutions of this government are not working, then we will send these institutions back to the sender. Because you cannot say that the chairperson has a problem. How? If she's not working, let's get her out. We have the powers. Huh? Mpoga, bear with me, and that is...
Madam Speaker,
yes.
With your indulgence, yes, I am entitled to speak in this House. So don't take away my right. Because you, my honorable sisters should just listen. I don't want to be misunderstood as if I am putting words in the mouth of the Human Rights Commission. With your permission, allow me to just read a sentence from their report, because the
no, we are going...
Yes.
Honorable
Because
member...
The leader of opposition...
No. Let me meet... we are going to meet with the Human Rights Commission. Okay?
Why are you fearing their
Honorable,
report?
Honorable members, we are giving this responsibility to Human Rights Commission, and we will have a meeting with them before we give them the assignment. And they must report to this House, report to Parliament as prescribed by the law. Next item. Next prayer. Next prayer.
Right Honorable Speaker, now we began with the issue of missing persons. Now we are going to the area of rape, defilement. Yes, this is what number 3 is talking about.
The
We
prayer.
are on 3, on number 3. 3, yes, I'm number 3. Number 3, the leader of opposition is proposing that we appoint a select committee to look at issues of rape, defilement, and so forth. And our view as the government, that if there are issues that we must investigate, the Human Rights Committee of this House is adequate. Yes, it's enough. So we can task it to look into these issues. It's our own committee, and we believe every member of parliament has competence and capacity. They can do good work and report back. So
Honorable members.
We object the issue of the select committee.
Can I want to hear from Government Chief Whip.
Madam Speaker, the practice of this House in terms of such proposals is dictated under the rules of procedure. In the rejoinder of the Leader of Opposition, prayer number 3 is need for a select committee. Under our rules, such should be formally moved in form of a motion, and the House takes a decision as prescribed under the rules of procedure through a vote. And would I persuade you, Right Honorable Speaker, as the custodian of the rules of procedure, but this is a House of record and it is guided by rules of procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, may I, if it pleases you, request that the side that has brought this proposal adheres to the rules of procedure such that you subject it to the prescription of the rule and we take a decision as a House. I beg to move.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I acknowledge the depth of knowledge of the rules by my honorable comrade, the Government Chief Whip. I want to assure him that by proposing that way, we were alive to the command of the rules. However, we thought that this House of Parliament would consider the possibility, and when it is agreeable, a motion would be duly moved. After all, under Rule 59K, the Speaker would indulgently allow the moving of a motion without notice. But you don't surprise the House or the presiding officer in such matters. So I want to say to his spirit that we are not devoid of knowledge of how the rules function in as far as motions are concerned. But we wanted to beseech the understanding of the House on how this would work. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, we are not trying to impeach in any way the sanctity, powers, and abilities of the House committees. We thought that because the committees of Parliament can on their own motion move over these matters, and remember these matters have been with us in this House for the last 2 years, and the Committee on Human Rights has never moved itself, let alone seeking to follow up matters over which we have resolved variously unofficially. The general understanding is that probably they are not keen, and therefore the House would consider to selectively choose from within itself a team to consider this matter. Right Honorable Speaker, that was the premise for that prayer.
There's a procedure from Mumbabazi. Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the Leader of Opposition is alleging that this House the committee of this House on Human Rights Commission, on Human Rights has never put in any efforts of investigating the matter at hand. Right Honorable Speaker, this matter is not new. It is something that has been on for long. Since we began, I think, our term of office on this committee, it was our first assignment. We had actually a list of 65 people who were alleged missing. We met those people. We had to investigate, and out of 65, we remained with only 7 that could not be accounted for. Right Honorable Speaker, it is a concern that the lead of opposition...
She's on procedure.
Are we proceeding well that the lead of opposition comes up now and says we have never investigated the matter?
Honorable Mbabazi, the issue being raised is on fisheries, not human rights. And for me, in my thinking, honorable members, in my thinking, if my brother Lob does not have all that trust in human rights alone, we can have 2 committees. We have always got very good results when we combine committees. We can get a committee of internal affairs together with human rights, and they will handle that properly. Honorable members, that will give you results. I want to thank you for today. The House adjourned to 2 tomorrow.
Give me that phone. Give me the phone.
UBC Inspire.